pleasure of welcoming great supporters and friends from INMA. He's the president, and then of course L. Wilkinson, and then Dorin is heading the work in Africa.
Honored that you're hosting us today. We look forward to a positive exchange of ideas and strategies to make our industry better. With me is Al Wilkinson. He's President and Executive Director of International Media Association. All right, guys. And we're happy to have him here. I'll let him tell you guys more about him and why he's here.
I would leave you with the idea about Business Day. No platform can take it. No AI can replicate it. No competitor can buy it. So here's a little advice. Defend it. Build it. Invest in it. Because folks, the decade ahead is going to belong to news organizations that are unmistakably themselves. They're not boring. They're not neutral. Who are you? Answer that question and you'll figure out the next one. Thanks a lot.
As Nigeria stands at a critical turning point, we move beyond the conversation of mere survival. This year, Business Day presents the 2026 edition of the CEO Forum, themed From Stability to Shared Prosperity. Join the nation's most influential CEOs, policymakers, and business leaders with keynote insights from Taiwo Oyedele, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, and the Central Bank Governor, Olayemi Kadoso, alongside a powerful lineup of voices shaping Nigeria's economic future. Happening on the 16th of July 2026 here in Lagos. For more information, call Uchenna on 0809 645 3535 or Shegun on 0812 024 3167 or Daniel on 0802 756 4653. This is not just a conference. It's where conversations become decisions that shape the future of business. As Nigeria stands at a critical turning point, we move beyond the conversation of mere survival. This year, Business Day presents the 2026 edition of the CEO Forum, themed From Stability to Shared Prosperity. Join the nation's most influential CEOs, policymakers, and business leaders with keynote insights from Taiwo Oyedele, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, and the Central Bank Governor, Olayemi Kadoso, alongside a powerful lineup of voices shaping Nigeria's economic future. Happening on the 16th of July 2026 here in Lagos. For more information, call Uchenna on 0809 645 3535 or Shegun on 0802 024 3167 or Daniel on 0802 756 4653. This is not just a conference. It's where conversations become decisions that shape the future of business. Business Day presents the 2026 edition of the CEO Forum, themed From Stability to Shared Prosperity. Join the nation's most influential CEOs, policymakers, and business leaders with keynote insights from Taiwo Oyedele, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, and the Central Bank Governor, Olayemi Kadoso, alongside a powerful lineup of voices shaping Nigeria's economic future. Happening on the 16th of July 2026 here in Lagos. For more information, call Uchenna on 0809 645 3535 or Shegun on 0812 024 3167 or Daniel on 0802 756 4653. This is not just a conference. It's where conversations become decisions that shape the future of business. As Nigeria stands at a critical turning point, we move beyond the conversation of mere survival. This year, Business Day presents the 2026 edition of the CEO Forum, themed From Stability to Shared Prosperity. Join the nation's most influential CEOs, policymakers, and business leaders with keynote insights from Taiwo Oyedele, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, and the Central Bank Governor, Olayemi Kadoso, alongside a powerful lineup of voices shaping Nigeria's economic future. Happening on the 16th of July 2026 here in Lagos. For more information, call Uchenna on 0809 645 3535 or Shegun on 0812 024 3167 or Daniel on 0802 756 4653. This is not just a conference. It's where conversations become decisions that shape the future of business. As Nigeria stands at a critical turning point, we move beyond the conversation of mere survival. This year, Business Day presents the 2026 edition of the CEO Forum, themed From Stability to Shared Prosperity. Join the nation's most influential CEOs, policymakers, and business leaders with keynote insights from Taiwo Oyedele, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, and the Central Bank Governor, Olayemi Kadoso, alongside a powerful lineup of voices shaping Nigeria's economic future. Happening on the 16th of July 2026 here in Lagos. For more information, call Uchenna on 0809 645 3535 or Shegun on 0812 024 3167 or Daniel on 0802 756 4653. This is not just a conference. It's where conversations become decisions that shape the future of business. As Nigeria
Good morning. Of course, it's a beautiful and raining Tuesday morning, and you're tuned in to the Breakfast Show on Business Day Television. We've got a packed morning ahead, starting with morning news. We then move to the newspaper review and bring you the business morning and dive into the big story and wrap up with the social listening segment. My name is Deborah Eze. We're going on a quick break. When we come back, we'll bring you the morning news. Just stay with us. Now you're welcome back to Business Day Television Breakfast News. I am Deborah Eze. Now let's see what's making the headlines. FX markets trading jumps 22% in June. Dangote refinery imports first UAE crude cargoes. Shatima Oyedele defend reforms, says economy now on stronger footing. Healthy diets cost climb to 1,589 naira per day in April, and that's coming from the NBS. Now let's begin the news as activity in Nigeria's foreign exchange market surged in the final week of June, with total turnover rising by more than 22% to $2.84 billion, according to the latest weekly FX turnover analysis report by FMDQ Securities Exchange. The increase was driven by stronger trading in both spot transactions and foreign exchange derivatives. The report showed that total turnover increased from $2.32 billion in the previous week to $2.84 billion. FX spot transactions accounted for the largest share of the increase, rising by 21.18% to $2.77 billion. Meanwhile, activity in the FX derivatives market grew by 77.2% to $64.04 million from $36.14 million, driven entirely by higher trading volumes in FX forward contract. The increased trading activity pushed average daily turnover to $567.09 million for the week ended June 26th.
reflecting improving liquidity in the foreign exchange market as regulators continue efforts to strengthen efficiency in the Nigerian autonomous foreign exchange market. And moving on, Dangote Petroleum Refinery has purchased 2 cargoes of crude oil from the United Arab Emirates, marking its first ever procurement of Middle Eastern crude. According to S&P Global Commodity Insights, the purchases signal a shift from the refinery's traditional reliance on Nigerian, African, and United States crude grades. Although the 700,000 barrel per day refinery has an agreement with the Nigerian National Petroleum Company to receive between 13 and 15 cargoes of Nigerian crude monthly in Naira. The arrangement has faced challenges due to limited crude availability and operational issues at export terminals. The refinery is also preparing for a major expansion that would double its processing capacity to 1.4 million barrels per day by the end of 2028, while planning to increase the proportion of heavier crude grades in its feedstock mix. And analysts say that Dangote refineries continue to diversify the range of crude grades it processes as it positions itself as a fully merchant refinery. And in other news, the federal government has defended its ongoing economic reforms have helped stir Nigeria away from fiscal distress and laid the foundation for long-term economic growth. Speaking at the 5th Nigeria Employers Summit, Vice President Kashim Shettima, represented by Special Advisor on General Duties Aliyu Modibo Umar, said reforms such as the removal of fuel subsidy, foreign exchange liberalization, and tax reforms were necessary to address long-standing structural challenges and stabilize the economy. Shettima acknowledged the Nigerians are grappling with high inflation and said the government is also working to reduce the burden on businesses through tax reforms, improved power supply, gas development, and the Presidential Compressed Natural Gas Initiative. Also speaking at the summit, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Taiwo Yedele, admitted that the reforms had come with significant sacrifices, but insisted that the economy is now in a stronger position than it was 3 years ago. Oyedele added that while Nigeria has recorded progress in stabilizing the economy and attracting investment, sustained reforms and continued collaboration between government and the private sector remain essential to achieving long-term economic growth. And to end the news, the average cost of maintaining a healthy diet in Nigeria rose to 1,589 naira per adult per day in April 2026, according to the latest cost of a healthy diet report released by the National Bureau of Statistics. The figure represents a 3.1% increase from March and is nearly 5% higher than the same period last year, reflecting sustained increases in food prices across most food groups. The report showed that Ekiti, Imo, and Bayelsa recorded the highest daily cost of a healthy diet, while Adamawa, the Federal Capital Territory, and Akwa Ibom recorded the lowest. Regionally, the Southeast had the highest average daily cost, while the Northeast remained the most affordable. According to the NBS, animal source foods accounted for the largest share of the cost of a healthy diet, making up 40% of total daily spending. Fruits and vegetables also remained relatively expensive, while only starchy staples and oils recorded price declines over the past years. The NBS says rising costs continue to increase pressure on household budgets, particularly for low-income families struggling to access nutritious meals. And that does it this morning on the Business Day Television Breakfast News. I am Deborah Eze. Up next is the newspaper review. Just stay with us.
As Nigeria stands at a critical turning point, we move beyond the conversation of mere survival. This year, Business Day presents the 2026 edition of the CEO Forum, themed from stability to shared prosperity. Join the nation's most influential CEOs, policymakers, and business leaders with keynote insights from Taiwo Oyedele, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, and the Central Bank Governor, Olayemi Cardoso, alongside a powerful lineup of voices shaping Nigeria's economic future, happening on the 16th of July 2026 here in Lagos. For more information, call Uchenna on 0809 645 3535 or Shegun on 0812 024 3167 or Daniel on 0802 756 4653. This is not just a conference. It's where conversations become decisions that shape the future of business. As Nigeria stands at a critical turning point, we move beyond the conversation of mere survival. This year, Business Day presents the 2026 edition of the CEO Forum, themed From Stability to Shared Prosperity. Join the nation's most influential CEOs, policymakers, and business leaders with keynote insights from Taiwo Oyedele, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, and the Central Bank Governor, Olayemi Cardoso, alongside a powerful lineup of voices shaping Nigeria's economic future, happening on the 16th of July 2026 here in Lagos. For more information, call Uchenna on 0809 645 3535 or Shegun on 0812 024 3167 or Daniel on 0802 756 4653. This is not just a conference. It's where conversations become decisions that shape the future of business. As Nigeria stands at a critical turning point, we move beyond the conversation of mere survival. This year, Business Day presents the 2026 edition of the CEO Forum, themed From Stability to Shared Prosperity. Join the nation's most influential CEOs, policymakers, and business leaders with keynote insights from Taiwo Oyedele, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, and the Central Bank Governor, Olayemi Cardoso, alongside a powerful lineup of voices shaping Nigeria's economic future, happening on the 16th of July 2026 here in Lagos. For more information, call Uchenna on 0809 645 3535 or Shegun on 0812 024 3167 or Daniel on 0802 756 4653. This is not just a conference. It's where conversations become decisions that shape the future of business.
Now, welcome back. This is the newspaper review segment of the Business Day television breakfast show, where we explore the major stories making headlines across the nation's newspaper. And of course, I'm your host, Deborah Eze. And joining me this rainy Tuesday morning to analyze the headlines
is myself.
Mohammed.
Thank you very much, Deborah. How are you today? I mean, of
Very
course,
well.
2 weeks you said. I mean, behind camera, we're speaking about
Were
that.
you
Welcome
keeping
back
tab?
again. I mean, I don't know. It's like it's up to that.
Yeah.
But you look relaxed, just like I said. And I
Yeah.
think it's always understandable. I mean, it's
I
needed,
needed it.
of course, and it's needed. And it's also good that you utilize it well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people have leave, and then you still see them jumping from one point to the other. Of course, the purpose of it is just to relax,
Of course.
refuel again, so you can. I'm sure people will get the best from you.
Thank you very
Well
much.
done.
Bro. Thank you.
And I'm sure you're following the World Cups. Okay, maybe.
Yeah,
I
I'm,
know.
I'm following about people's WhatsApp status.
That's what's going on.
What's
here
my
and there.
business with
I
football?
know. I'm sure I've been here with Liz as well for some time. I know she too has actually not been up to
Speed
deal
with
with
it.
it.
But I know South Africa is out.
Of course.
And we are all happy about it.
Oh my God. I mean, it's a matter of your enemy. I mean, they are enemies now. The enemy of all. Yeah, but Morocco qualified yesterday. We have another African round of 16. They will play the host nation, Canada. We have two Africans that will be playing tonight. Cote d'Ivoire is playing. And we actually wish a whole lot of them. Africans did very well anyway. Out of that 10 now, only 2 have been eliminated.
Right.
8 have qualified.
All right, let's keep our fingers crossed. Of course, let's take a look at what the front page of the Business Day, The Guardian, Punch, and Vanguard are reporting this morning before we round off with the cartoon of the day. And kicking off with the Business Day newspaper, our sister company, of course. The big story on the Business Day newspaper this morning reads, Nigeria seeks advisors for first Eurobond sale since November. I'm going to take that again. Nigeria seeks advisors for first Eurobond sale since November. And another story on the Business Day newspaper reads, uncertainty grieves opposition over INEC portal code. Uncertainty grieves opposition over INEC portal code. And of course, we have a map there on the Business Day newspaper that reads, Nigeria leads Africa's equity markets in dollar returns as of June 2026. Mo, speak to us about the Nigeria Nigeria seeking Eurobond sales.
We're going back again to the market. So sometimes, and I know we always be able to be at crossroads, me and you, when it comes to what is this government doing, especially, because I know to a lot of people here, nothing has been done. This government has actually not been able to do anything. But I think this should also be able to lay credence to some of the reforms, the reform gain that we are seeing now materializing into concrete results or concrete outcomes that we can see. And it's the fact that by November, we will be going back to the bond market. Now, note, the bond market is just like every other market where the government goes into to be able to borrow money, most importantly because it's in Eurobond, so it's actually in foreign currency, that allows us to actually be able to meet up our international obligations. So this is another good thing. The news broke yesterday that plans are underway. And advisors, we're talking about most of all these financial advisors who can actually allow you to be able to go into the market. And now you can actually be able to hedge against the possible risk and maximize the possible returns. So the Nigerian government released that yesterday. And in fact, it was discussed at the Federal Executive Council meeting that advisors now being sought ahead of our listing of Eurobond again by November. So what I'm just saying here is, it's more or less like we are the big bride now. I don't know the word bride. Nigeria is like the bride. Investors. And I think you read your infographics about
Nigeria leads Africa's equity market
stocks. You can be able to see that the return has been massive. In fact, I thought one of them I should be able to see on the paper was the fact that our stocks will remain best performing stock despite 9.6 trillion naira sell-off since January. People are selling off. More money are being made right now. I can tell you the market is as liquid and as profitable as you can be able to see, because this sell-off is profit taking.
Of course.
Profit taking. So we have people that we call bargain hunters who simply are just looking for profit, invest into it, and then take out their returns. Exactly. And that is what is actually accounted for this. So it's not only Nigeria. I'm not talking about local stock.
I'm not just surprised with the way the market, is
booming. Exactly.
Booming? The market is not booming, in June. Okay. It has been red.
So what I'm saying here is maybe not fully red. When you think about it's sell-off, right?
Of course, we know it's profit taking.
It's profit taking. So what people are doing is, there are two things we are looking at from the analysis, right? Is that one, people are actually waiting for the Dangote IPO in August.
Of course.
When they want to ensure they have money on ground. People are just selling to wait for that. And then we see that the market is actually returning back to, in economics we call it steady state. So the steady state is where we consider to be the normal trend of the market. The market is self-adjusting itself, it's self-correcting. There have been periods, because for a market to have 9.8 trillion naira sell-off, it's a buying and selling market. So that somebody held, this is a value that's actually been held for a while, and people are selling it off now. So I don't see we should, so that we'll not be able to, it's not like a panic to the market. The market is really doing as it's supposed to be able to do, is self-correcting itself. For what we have seen in the last 6 months, now this is a period of self-correction, and it's also allowing investors to be able to prepare themselves ahead of what is going to come. Maybe Dangote IPOs, or about 2 other big IPOs that will likely be able to come. So I think that explains it, and I think we should. The other thing there was INEC, thank God. So INEC today, yesterday, started giving out codes to political parties. So from today, parties are allowed or are now being permitted to access INEC portal to upload their candidates from today till July 11. And that's where some of the other court dynamics that came on board. So when that, all the primary elections that party conducted as at May ending, so by today, they are expected to be imputing the names so that we know who is representing this party, who is representing what party. So they've been given the source codes, except those that have some legal issues. NDC that we've seen recently, the judgment that came from the Kogi State High Court. And then maybe ADC as well. They're also in the eye of the storm. I think Accord Party, I think under ADC. So, but they've been given anyway. But if you go to an airport, I think I was checking it yesterday night, there's the fact that NDC and PDP still the issue around it is by court order. That's what they put there on the INEC. You can check the INEC portal. So those two parties are like those that completed, because by law, INEC is expected to register parties, don't forget. But NDC came about in December 2025 because of court order. Was Justice Ida Dashen court order that gave them before another judgment came on Friday and then threw a little spanner into their works. But what we need to know is that they've been given Mr. Sayake Dixon, who is the party chieftain of NDC, as well, confirmed that INEC gave them the code as well to upload, to impute their own members. And I'm sure that we'll see that between now and July 11 to see what parties can do. But the question, if you don't do that between now and July 11, that means you're not having candidates to represent you in the 2027 election.
All right, let's now move on to the Guardian newspaper. And the big story on the Guardian newspaper, starting off with politics, role in APC as Atiku obedient alleged sabotage of opposition. Role in APC as Atiku obedient alleged sabotage of opposition. And you can find the story on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. And of course, we have NAFDAC seizes 42 million naira expired baby wipes illegally revalidated. And that is on page 4 of the Guardian. And poor compliance, corruption, fueling building collapse, expert warns. And you can find the story on page 5. We also have June 30, foreigners stranded on edge as anti-immigrant protests rock South Africa. And that is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. And at the top of the Guardian newspaper this morning, we have 2 die in Borno forest, saving Ayo abducted NECO candidates. And that is on page, I think that is on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. And still on the Guardian newspaper, we have federal government warns petrol marketers against profiteering, seeks reduction of prices, and that is also on page 3. And finally, on the Guardian newspaper, we have FEC overhauls NYSC after 53 years, agency to be civilian.
You know, like that.
When I saw it this morning, it was very, don't say where I chuckled. Like, okay, what are we doing in this country? I think they've extended it to 6 weeks and they've scrapped the military drills.
Of course. Military drills. No, I mean, we'll need to be able to see the details that will be able to come out, because the Minister of Youth and Youth Development came out yesterday to ensure that it's a civilian-led now and the military. The time frame, I didn't see that. Okay, 6 weeks now? Is that what it said?
Yeah.
Okay, for the whole program?
Yeah, the whole program. 6 weeks now.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
It's amazing. Because I've not actually been able to digest the full thing. Instead of 1 year. So you do it in 6 weeks and you're back home. Yeah. Are you serious? All right, let's I'm sure there'll be some time that we need to be able to see there. But I think other things is today is the deadline, the legal, I don't know why I can say that, because it is not official deadline, the unofficial deadline given to Nigerians that are in South Africa to be able to, I mean, not Nigerians anyway, not Nigerians, Africans, especially undocumented immigrants, to be able to return back home. And I think one of the things that I think we put out today was to be able to examine some of the economic dynamics, you know, these immigrants to be able to blame for the economic woes in the essay. I think it's in our papers, there's a premium stories, maybe at least we should go there. They should be able to read it and see the analysis. We'll see what's going to happen. The government of South Africa has been dilly-dallying about it anyway, because we've seen one of the major political party in SA also coming out to be able to give credence to this group that is actually threatening immigrants, and is actually quite unfortunate. I think the other thing you read there was what our Nigerian soldiers just did yesterday, Askia Musa, after that school. NECO students that were actually abducted were returned. I mean, were secured yesterday. We secured their release by the Nigerian military. And that is actually quite good, because it appears that in the last 2 weeks, there have been heightened effort on the part of our government, on the part of our security, to be able to take the battle to these people. In Lagos nowadays, what they call Operation Kosayi. I'm sure if you understand. Yeah, you've seen that in Lagos. And 84 of them were arrested on Sunday, of these kidnappers. And people were rescued. Lagos was a joint collaboration between Lagos and the state government. It seems like there's a renewed effort. And I can tell you that there is actually a renewed one, because you will see cases. Let's look at the trade last 2 weeks. The number of people that have actually been rescued, the number of these criminals, these terrorists, these bandits that have actually been arrested as well. And you see that it's actually on the uptick in the last 2 weeks. I really can tell you that. And a very good case was the Operation Kosai I just mentioned. It was a Lagos Ogun joint police effort that, just like Kosai means no space in Lagos. There's no space for you here in Lagos. And 84 of them were even paraded. That was on Sunday, of these kidnappers. And some people were actually rescued, especially along, the Ogun Forest and some of those other places where these people have taken as idols.
Well, let's talk about inflation. So I read something in the news this morning, and the Guardian also picked that story. And it reads, healthy meals cost Nigerians more as daily diet hits 1,589 naira.
That's interesting. 1,580?
1,589. Let's say 1,600 approximately.
So I know the food inflation is still, so in economics, we say something about prices are always very flexible upward, but it is sticky downward. It's a very key word we usually be able to mention in economics. Flexible means that people adjust when price goes up because of those adjustments, but they are very sticky. It's very difficult for it to come down when it's coming down. I'll just give you an example before I go there. So look at when the price of petrol shot up.
Yeah.
What will people do? Everybody adjusted it. If the price goes up, no seller, no marketer will be telling you, I have old stock, I have old inventory. Let me finish before I adjust the price, right? Let's say there is just a little bit of a noise. Like, something's going to go up. Everybody adjusted instantaneously. But when the price goes down, nobody wants to do anything. You started hearing dynamics that say, I have old stock, I have to finish that one, right? So when I finish that one, I can now adjust back to the new price.
How does that now translate to?
So that's what I'm saying. So in the same way about when dynamics are being done, so when government come up with interventions to say, these are strategic investments that have actually been released. Now, I'm talking about the marketers here, we ourselves. That's exactly where I'm going to. We ourselves that buy and sell to ourselves. Everybody wanted to be able to jump on the bandwagon when things are going up, right? Now, when it is going down, nobody wants to say that. Now, what has government done? Because I was actually able to be privy to some of the things that were actually done in terms of, one, the Ministry of Agriculture said they released strategic reserves to ensure that food prices stabilized, especially on the back of the US-Iran war. Because what eventually put us in this stead, don't forget, was the US-Iran war. 25% of global fertilizers passed through that strait as well, apart from gas, oil. So petrol passed through there, gas passed through there, and then fertilizers actually used in farmland passed through that chokehold, that strait of Hormuz that we talk about. It's not only oil alone, crude oil alone that passed through there. Now, these things here feeding, it is, as we will call it, it's a multiplier effect, it's a ripple effect. So that's a ripple effect to be able to do that. But I know that the only thing is, we can't rule out the dynamics that average Nigerians are actually going through a tough time. Look at the gas prices. I mean, how it's actually shooting up as well. I mean, going up as well. The same thing actually applies to food stuff. And at 1,600, I think it was 1,500 MBA. What's it called?
Nigerian
MBS released then. Now it's about 1,600 that you're mentioning now. It is still very, very high, and we'll just also be able to prevail on the government. I'm sure, of course, because one thing we know that the government will have to do is two things. One, strategic reserves, they need to sustain it. Most of what is food, there's a food in reserve, they're called strategic reserves. I'm sure agriculture is supposed to release where we have scarcity in the system. They need to release that to ensure that we buffer up the prices. We buffer up the food availability to ensure that the prices are not going as high as they should. And secondly, is to appeal to ourselves as well, my lady. We ourselves, I'm thinking about our people, ourselves, to ensure that we're always considerate about ourselves and that we are not just profiteering on everything. I'm sure you read the story about profiteering. That is what a lot of them are doing now. Because those dynamics, people are not going to look into. They say it takes two to tango. Somebody will always want to be able to make all the gains in this world. I'm serious, that's one other thing. Profit seeking or rent seeking, as we call them in economics, is what is also affecting the nation. And people are taking advantage of that. It's high time we look into it. We looked vehemently into this profit seeking.
Food?
That's what I'm saying. Because, what I'm saying here is, If I tell someone now, last time I bought a bag of rice, okay, because I've not bought recently, I'm just going to use that as an example, was during Salah time. And I was telling somebody that we bought it for, I think it was not 51,000. Okay. I was going to say it's not possible. That in his own place, was it not 70,000 or something of that nature?
It depends on the kind of rice that you
and that's what
bought.
we say again.
But no. They're actually like kinds,
of course, there are different kinds.
It was me you were having the conversation with, I remember. And I told you that it depends on the kind of rice that you actually got. Now, when it comes to food, I really don't think we Nigerians, I don't think we have problems. You think so? I think it's the government that's actually a problem, because how many Nigerians out there can actually afford to even buy the bag of rice that you were able to buy during Salah?
No, so what I'm saying here is, because I think on the average, somebody will buy
on the average. Exactly.
But if you look at it in the long
rice
term,
now is 1,500 naira.
Okay, I really okay.
Oh, you don't know? I'm telling you now.
I don't know. Actually,
okay. In acre rice is 1,500. No, I've not gotten pepper, but who am I to buy pepper? I'm just an average Nigerian.
Why should I buy pepper?
With which money? The
same pepper that you just eat rice. You just eat rice. We just want to eat rice.
Then you buy rice 1.5. You buy atagungu, abi atagungu. What you guys?
That's what they call it.
You buy it, and then you buy granite oil, the smallest one, or palm oil, and then you buy like onions, 200 naira, and then that is your meal for today.
So everything today will be like 1,600.
Exactly.
Okay.
1,600. So it's very, very sad.
So how is it for me? No, I'm not saying you as the buyer. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I'm looking at seller. Okay, so because really maybe I'm not so disposed to these dynamics of one unit of onion, 1 unit of power oil, this, which is I understand the reality. But I'm saying there is how often times have we heard most of all these advertisers, most of all these manufacturers saying, for example, the granola you are talking about, you'll be able to mention the name, that it is now 50 naira sachet. I mean, they will telling you, they'll be marketing it. And you will go to those people that are selling. They'll be marketing on radio, on TVs to say, power, for example, power oil, very good. Power is now 15 naira for. I'm telling you, that's their own advice.
I can't buy it for 15 naira and sell for 15 naira.
Okay, so I'm sure that, which is understandable. So if you buy for 15 and sell for 200 naira, is that reasonable?
No,
I'm just want to say.
When it comes,
I'm not saying you should not be able to put your margin.
When it comes to
you buy for 50, sell for 200.
That's what I'm saying. When it comes to food, there is usually not an insane inflation.
Okay, you know why I said that?
50
I don't think so. What I'm saying. Okay, so I bought the bread. It's a popular bread used to buy. The popular mart that you know, one of the ones, the Bopus. Okay, now if you go to the shop to buy it, remember it's about 1,100 naira. Agree? And somebody, because took it from here, selling downstairs, is selling for 1,300. Okay, now don't forget, it's a mass market. He will not go to the market to buy 1 unit. He's buying in bulk. So per unit, imagine I bought 100 of that, right?
And I can tell you that they actually sell for them for the same price that you as a retailer.
What I'm saying, yes. So imagine a 1,200 naira gain on 1 unit of bread. No transport cost to this person I'm talking about. You're just selling a street away, just a street.
200 naira now.
Okay. So what is the cost of that 200 naira? Transport?
Of course, now
space.
Space. I'll pay for space.
Okay.
More is away from reality.
No, I'm saying if you pay space, you pay for space. Okay, I'm saying 200 multiplied by 100 units, right? Do you even think the main producer, the manufacturers themselves,
are making can afford to buy 100? Let's be realistic, Mo.
Because they are selling to us as buyers.
Yeah, some of them can only afford to buy 5. You only see 5 loaf of bread.
So what I'm saying is, I'm talking about myself now. I would have just gone to Boku myself, right?
And when you go to Boku, are you going to trek? Are you going to trek to?
That's something. It's just checkable from my house. I'm just saying. Not everybody. Maybe
checkable from my house.
That's just the problem.
So
I don't know how the dynamics. It's checkable for me. Maybe not be checkable for you. And those are what we need to be able to factor. But I'm looking at a person. Okay, myself. Trackable for me. I bought it from them. Okay, it's a 5 unit or 10 unit. Why can't I sell for 1,200? Is it still? Why should I be able to necessarily make 200 again?
So you want me to make 100 again and not 200
That's what I'm just saying, that this is exactly how dynamics Nigerians are coming up with. Now, if I am frustrating people, right, to say I must sell for 1,300, 1,400. The question is, even the manufacturers themselves, the producers themselves, the Boku people themselves, are they making 200 per unit?
Of course they are.
I don't think so. Because I asked them, okay,
this they will tell you. That's the thing. Okay. Of course they are. Because
but they are even the one is a product. Okay, what I'm saying is, when Dangote started about Dangote cement, I was trying to be able to buy some bags of cement over the weekend. I know what I'm talking about. Now, the cement is about 12,000. Now, Boa was telling us that it was selling a bag to these people for 3,800. Then I'm talking about last 2 years, and they're selling it outside at the rate of 9,000
All
naira.
other commodities, I
So we are taking
cannot
advantage
speak
of
for.
ourselves.
But you see, food, I will tell you that. See, these traders usually do not as much as we think
advantage of
inflate
people.
the prices, because really, if like you said, the oil products that you mentioned,
cannot oil,
if
right?
you tell me that is the company says it's 15 naira,
Okay.
you don't expect me to buy at 15 naira and sell for you at 15 naira.
It's price for
We're not
200
running-
naira. Does it make sense there for 200 naira?
I
as
don't
well?
think anyone is selling for 200 naira.
Okay, then I think I said power oil, right? This power oil. Okay. maybe
I
that's
don't
what
think
it is.
anyone is selling for 200
I don't know how much it's selling
naira.
anyway. But I heard we were talking about on TV. Sorry, this is on General there, but it's on General Power Oil. As we saying, it's about 250 naira. There was that discussion I was having over the weekend with some people in my mosque anyway about how there's that word here.
It's how we are
the
moving the
problems
conversation
of ourselves.
away from the bodies that are meant to regulate these prices to the sellers. See, if I go and buy something and decide to sell it for you ridiculously, it's not on me.
It should be on
the
you.
FCCPC. What is
That's
their
what I'm saying.
job?
But okay, so
it is still the government.
how many places do you think FCCPC will get to? Now, I am just saying.
I
I'm
don't think that is excuse enough.
Okay,
Let me
what's
give you
it?
an
Give me an
example.
example.
Now, let's use the Gambia for instance. I do business in the Gambia. I understand how the business dynamics work in the
Understand, okay,
Gambia.
okay.
Now, there was a time when this carton of noodles
Okay.
was selling for 5,000 naira. All of a sudden, it's carried to 9,000 naira. And
Yeah,
we're
in
like,
Nigeria,
in
right?
Nigeria.
Okay.
And everyone was like, yo.
This is actually just
People who were exporting down to the Gambia
Okay.
could not anymore, because they have an agency, a working body that regulates these prices. So they don't care if you're bringing it for 1 trillion naira from your country. Once it gets to the country, you're going to sell for the price that
is
these
regulated,
bodies have
okay.
actually regulated.
But the question I want to ask, Deb, thank you very
Yeah.
much, is so in Gambia, I really don't know how to operate there. It is easy for you to control if you are the one producing it, right? There's a government is the one in charge of the production. So now, why can't government look at what they're talking about oil, for example, petrol? Why can't government be able to control it? The main reason now, because the market has been
Can any
deregulated.
private sector actually run without the government?
No. What I'm saying here is I'm talking about price
That is
fixing.
the
Because
way you
that's-
can actually
So price
regulate.
fixing is government can say now today, government cannot wake up tomorrow and say a liter of oil should be sold for 1,000.
Oh, they
They
can't.
can't.
They can't.
Because it has been deregulated. So by PIA Act,
Okay.
Petroleum Industry Act, what it does is that deregulation. So that regulation thing that used to be then when NNPCs were at the beck and call of NNPCs and say, this is what the price will be. That has been taken away. So when you hear the word deregulation, it simply means the government can't do that again.
That's in petrol, right? In oil.
I know, of course. I'm just saying.
Okay.
So if you have it for the food stuff as well, okay. So you're the one selling Indomie here. Government didn't know how you get it. Do you think it will now be convenient or comfortable
Wow,
for government to now say,
no.
"Then your bag of your carton of Indomie, you not 705,000."
Let me now tell you, do you know that they do not produce anything in countries like the Gambia and also Senegal? Do you know they don't really have like a production house? They actually import 90% of everything that
That's what I'm
they
saying.
use.
Who do that? I mean, the government is doing that. So government can actually be able to afford to say, okay, we will be able to, just like subsidies here, we can import all this. And then we put a price cap.
More. No. That's not how it is.
Once government don't produce it, you cannot control the price.
I'm telling you that.
I know, I'm not saying
they are not producing.
But they are importing them.
Individuals are the one importing this thing.
So that's what I'm saying. What
But
I'm
there
saying
is still a
scarcity.
control.
So if I'm saying, like, look at here now. If government, you're the one importing Indomie to Gambia, right? You bought it from here for 9,000 naira. I'm just assuming. Now, and the government is saying, I'm just assuming what to do. Don't sell for more than 5,000 in Gambia. What do you think you would do?
I won't.
Thank you very much. Which is going to affect everybody.
It's not going to affect everybody.
No, I mean, yeah, if all of us, wait, okay. So let's say you bought one from Nigeria,
Yeah.
right? We're all importing. I'm bringing one from Ghana. Now, we observe that we say that the cost is actually more. I mean, the price you're going to be selling there is far, far lower than the cost of production. All of us will stop the business.
Yeah, you stop.
Good. So what's going to happen to the people there?
Nothing's
No
going to
food for them
happen.
to
Only
eat.
foodie.
Okay. I'm just saying.
Right
what's
now,
gonna happen there.
let's quickly look at the front page of the Punch newspaper. And the Punch newspaper
know
this
about that
morning, the big story reads, fresh crisis hit parties as INEC portal opens. More as
I think, yes,
discussed on that
today,
already.
yes,
And of
yes,
course, on the top
Wednesday.
of the Punch newspaper, we have the registration crisis, NDC files appeal, moves to serve INEC, and that is on page 16. And also NDLEA arms operatives with AK-47s to battle drug cartel, and that is on page 27. And also on the Brno abduction, troops rescue 10 NECO candidates and teachers, and that is on page 5 of the Punch newspaper. And also Punch here, MOA NAFDAC DG bag African Healthcare Award, and that is on page 18 of the Punch newspaper. Still on the Punch newspaper, we have Lagos tops Nigeria's HIV burden as infections hit 102,025, and that is on page 18. And also blackouts, banks, firms sink 401 billion naira into alternative power in 3 months, and that's on page 26. Fair cancels NYSC personal parade, extend operation to 6 weeks, and that's on page 27. And also motorists stab last mile officer during enforcement, and that's on page 5. And finally, on the Punch newspaper, federal government approves 3.94 trillion naira for roads, vessels, and others. I think I would like us to talk on the HIV burden.
Oh, okay.
HIV
That's
burden.
What I would even love us to talk more about is just to be able to shed more light on what, because I think that is the number one burning issue in the nation today. Just two things:
crisis.
the HIV, the INEC portal and the rescue operations. I mean, I think we should, as much as possible, commend our Nigerian armed forces, because as I told you earlier, yes, they're taking the battle. No, I think we cannot. This is why I'm saying that. I know.
I understand
your point. Okay. Because I know that. Yeah, we have ostracized and lampooned these people enough that they have not done enough. Nigerians have come for them.
Well, I though.
That's what I'm saying. So they are doing it now. What you now do? No, this is not just one. That's what I'm saying now. Thank you very much. That's why I felt like we needed, because not only you here, I know some people are listening to me at home and they felt like, no, what have they done? They have not done anything. But I can tell you, just take a time, we sit down for 30 minutes and see how many rescue efforts have been made, right? I don't know whether you saw it yesterday. In fact, Trump was talking yesterday and was saying about the kind of the Nigeria-US joint collaboration and the level of success, that is actually achieved in terms of actually be able to take the fight to these people. But at the same time too, is the INEC portal, I said opened, MDC. The two things that were actually a major problem is one, for PDP, which faction will be recognized. Yesterday, Wike faction claimed that they're the one that received all the pin to be able to access INEC portal. Don't forget that there's a PDP faction, the one the Wike faction. No, those other ones have actually left. They've gone to APM. But now we know that the National Executive Committee, the NEC, actually had loggerhead with them. But the INEC chair, the National Public Secretary, that is backed by Wike faction, Umar Bature, they claim yesterday they are the one that actually get all the necessary documentation to access the INEC portal. That is one. NDC, I think their own case too, we need to be able to see it as well. Right? Don't forget the judgment from the court. What is going to happen, we would need to be able to know before the end of today. But I think we have that in July.
Let's quickly check out the cartoon of the day. That's why I caught you there, because we have Trump. I think this is according to what he was saying yesterday concerning the rescue mission. And we have a journalist. A pretty looking journalist. This is how a normal journalist in Nigeria will look. And I said, finally, we're hearing from Trump. That finally we ended the genocide in Nigeria. And then we have somebody that looks like the caricature of the president. And he said, exactly, I have been telling them. But the funny thing from this image is the fact that we can see that there's still blood in the country.
So,
in just 1 minute.
1 minute, I will just quickly do that, and I will try to be able to summarize. I promise you. The fact is, I heard Trump speaking to his supporting base, and you see the way they were hailing him when he was saying that in Seattle yesterday on Sunday about we have worked with the Nigerian government, we have taken the fight to them. The militias that are there, and we have arrested them and we have decimated them. And then it generated a whole lot of debate on Monday. I was coming to office yesterday and I was looking at, we were saying they're lying to you. It's not the case. But I feel like the genocide debate is what will always be able to linger in our mind for a very long while. I think it is very important that this this actually be able to come out, and we hear that coming from the American president, who have actually joined the bandwagon of the genocide. Now the question is, we have these terrorists in our nation that are actually wreaking havoc, and we need to deal with them. And I think I love that point where you mentioned about the fact that we see the map of Nigeria there that is still dripping with blood. It is still there. But Deb, and I can tell you that this war against terror, in the last 3 weeks and 4 weeks, we are really winning it. They too are not, I'm not saying the terrorists too are not resting on their horrors, and they are the enemy of all of us, whether Muslim, Christian, whatever you are. These are our enemies, our common enemies that we all need to. Because what they wanted to do is to do divide and rule, create a chaos amongst ourselves, so that we'll not be able to focus on them as our major problem. And now I think that we'll be able to get there.
We'll continue this off camera because I don't agree with that. Okay. Anyways, thank you for joining us in the studio this morning. This is all that we can take for the newspaper review segment. Up next is the Business Morning. I am Deborah Eze. Just stay with us.
This is Business Week, a weekly program brought to you by BusinessDay Television.
And we're live from Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, bringing you the latest insight into the stories that matter for business and the economy. I am Deborah Eze.
Onyeka Valentine.
I am Destiny Momo.
My name is Elizabeth Moses.
When you think of business, think no more, think Business Day.
I know that Business Day television will go places. It is the next big thing that will happen to the Nigerian media sector without a shade of doubt.
This is Business Week, a weekly program brought to you by BusinessDay Television.
And we're live from Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, bringing you the latest insight into the stories that matter for business and the economy. I am Deborah Eze.
Onyeka Valentine.
I am Destiny Momo.
My name is Elizabeth Moses.
When you think of business, think no more, think Business Day.
I know that Business Day television will go places. It is the next big thing that will happen to the Nigerian media sector without a shade of doubt.
Pleasure of welcoming great supporters and friends from INMA. He's the president, and then of course L. Wilkinson, and then Dorin is heading the work in Africa.
Honored that you're hosting us today. We look forward to a positive exchange of ideas and strategies to make our industry better. With me is Al Wilkinson. He's President and Executive Director of International News Media Association. All right, guys. And we're happy to have him here. I'll let him tell you guys more about him and why he's here.
you with the idea about Business Day. No platform can take it. No AI can replicate it. No competitor can buy it. So here's a little advice. Defend it. Build it. Invest in it. Because folks, the decade ahead is going to belong to huge organizations that are unmistakably themselves. They're not boring. They're not neutral. Who are you? Answer that question and you'll figure out the next one. Thanks a lot.
As Nigeria stands at a critical turning point, we move beyond the conversation of mere survival. This year, Business Day presents the 2026 edition of the CEO Forum, themed From Stability to Shared Prosperity. Join the nation's most influential CEOs, policymakers, and business leaders with keynote insights from Taiwo Oyedele, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, and the Central Bank Governor, Olayemi Kadoso, alongside a powerful lineup of voices shaping Nigeria's economic future. Happening on the 16th of July 2026 here in Lagos. For more information, call Uchenna on 0809 645 3535 or Shegun on 0812 024 3167 or Daniel on 0802 756 4653. This is not just a conference. It's where conversations become decisions that shape the future of business. As Nigeria stands at a critical turning point, we move beyond the conversation of mere survival. This year, Business Day presents the 2026 edition of the CEO Forum, themed From Stability to Shared Prosperity. Join the nation's most influential CEOs, policymakers, and business leaders with keynote insights from Taiwo Oyedele, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, and the Central Bank Governor, Olayemi Kadoso, alongside a powerful lineup of voices shaping Nigeria's economic future. Happening on the 16th of July 2026 here in Lagos. For more information, call Uchenna on 0809 645 3535 or Shegun on 0812 024 3167 or Daniel on 0802 756 4653. This is not just a conference. It's where conversations become decisions that shape the future of business. As Nigeria stands at a critical turning point, we move beyond the conversation of mere survival. This year, Business Day presents the 2026 edition of the CEO Forum, themed From Stability to Shared Prosperity. Join the nation's most influential CEOs, policymakers, and business leaders with keynote insights from Taiwo Oyedele, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, and the Central Bank Governor, Olayemi Kadoso, alongside a powerful lineup of voices shaping Nigeria's economic future. Happening on the 16th of July 2026 here in Lagos. For more information, call Uchenna on 0809 645 3535 or Shegun on 0812 024 3167 or Daniel on 0802 756 4653. This is not just a conference. It's where conversations become decisions that shape the future of business. As Nigeria stands at a critical turning point, we move beyond the conversation of mere survival. This year, Business Day presents the 2026 edition of the CEO Forum, themed From Stability to Shared Prosperity. Join the nation's most influential CEOs, policymakers, and business leaders with keynote insights from Taiwo Oyedele, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, and the Central Bank Governor, Olayemi Kadoso, alongside a powerful lineup of voices shaping Nigeria's economic future. Happening on the 16th of July 2026 here in Lagos. For more information, call Uchenna on 0809 645 3535 or Shegun on 0812 024 3167 or Daniel on 0802 756 4653. This is not just a conference. It's where conversations become decisions that shape the future of business.
Welcome back. You're still watching The Breakfast Show and you're welcome to the Business Morning segment right here on Business Day Television. We're live from Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, bringing you the latest insight into the stories that matter for business and economy. I am Deborah Eze and it's great to have you with us. Now let's begin with the top news stories making the rounds in the world of business. Nigeria's stock market has retained its position as Africa's best performing equity market, despite losing nearly 10 trillion naira in market value this month due to profit taken by investors. According to data analyzed by BusinessDay, the Nigerian exchange has delivered a 59.5% return in US dollar terms so far this year, the highest among 17 African stock exchanges. The strong performance has been supported by robust corporate earnings, banking sector reforms, and the relative stability of the naira, which has helped preserve investment returns for foreign investors. Nigeria also ranks among the continent's top performers in local currency terms, with a year-to-date gain of 51.1%. Although the market has shed almost 10 trillion naira in June as investors locked in profits, analysts describe the decline as a healthy correction rather than a sign of weakening fundamentals. And so in the news, Nigeria has begun preparation for its first Eurobond issuance since November as the federal government moves to re-enter the international debt market. The Debt Management Office has invited financial institutions and professional firms to serve as advisors for the planned bond sale. And according to the DMO, the advisors will provide financial, legal, and other specialist services required to structure and execute the transaction, as planned Eurobond is expected to support budget financing. The move comes as investor sentiment towards Nigerian assets improves following ongoing economic reforms, exchange rate adjustment, and effort to stabilize the economy. And analysts say appointing advisors is a standard preparatory step that positions the government to take advantage of the favorable market conditions when they arise. And if issued, the Eurobond will mark Nigeria's return to international capital markets after a 2-year pause. And of course, still to come after the break, while mobile-friendly websites are no longer optional. Just stay with us.
Attention business leaders, want to make informed decisions? Join the ranks of the best with Premium Business Day. Access in-depth analysis and expert opinions to stay ahead. Subscribe now at premium.businessday.ng and unlock premium content. Plus, you get 50% off your first subscription. Don't miss out. Make smarter choices and seize new opportunities. Sign up now and elevate your business game. Visit premium.businessday.ng today.
Welcome back. You're still watching Business Morning. Let's now move to our first conversation this morning. If you've ever visited a website on your phone only to find tiny text, broken layouts, or buttons that simply don't work, chances are you didn't stay for long. That's exactly why businesses today can no longer afford to ignore mobile users. With smartphones now accounting for the majority of internet traffic, having a website that works seamlessly across all devices isn't just a nice feature. It's essential for customer experience, brand credibility, and business growth. And joining us to discuss why mobile-friendly websites have become a necessity is front-end developer Abdul Kabir Musa. Good morning, Musa. It's good to have you on the Business Morning Show.
Yeah, good morning.
All right, to begin with, what exactly makes a website mobile friendly and why is it so important today?
Yeah. To put it in a single word, a mobile friendly website is a website that it's completely easy to access, and it's it is friendly to access, whether you are using it on a mobile phone or a tablet or a desktop. It doesn't matter. So it should users should have equal experience accessing such kind of website within different devices. So, and when user clicks a certain button, it should actually work. When user navigate, it should actually navigate. Fonts should actually be easier to access, and completely many other features, because there are tons of features that actually contribute to a perfectly responsive website or friendly website. So we'll be discussing a lot along the way. So that's just the simply put of it.
You know, we've seen a dramatic rise in smartphone usage. So how has this changed the way businesses should approach their online presence?
Yeah, when it comes to websites, when it comes to businesses presenting their businesses on the web on their personal websites, so there are tons of ways of how they should present their website, in the sense that a website, it's no longer an optional tool for a business, for a standard business. So it's one of the roots, or one of the roots that contribute to how businesses present itself, and how their customers can value them. So it's very important. It's very important that a businesses shouldn't think of a website or their personal website as an optional or as an alternative. It's something that they need to take as much as important, very important, as the way they take their businesses on the social platform, because there's a lot of businesses out there that think of website as an optional tool, and they just feel like social platforms is the right way to go to present your business, whereas both sides are very important, and they shouldn't think of their business website as something that is optional.
So speak to us about the impacts that, you know, a responsive website have on customer engagement and ultimately on sales.
Please, can you come again?
Yeah, I said speak to us about the impacts that a responsive website have on customer engagement and also on sales.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of ways a responsive website contributes to business and sales. So first thing to start with, when a user or a customer, because in terms of developer we call everybody users. So when a user comes to visit a website and first thing they tries to load a website and it's taking like a minute to load, we have different kind of users. Such kind of delay, just a minute to for the first page to load, it can really get some user frustrated and leave your website. So it contributed a lot. Assuming now that you have a good and tangible with a good price on your website, so on your business website, right? So users don't actually get to see that because they got frustrated about the page load, the first point of the website. So first thing, that issue has silently died. The business owner won't know about it. And the second thing is that the business owner has lost another customer due to the fact that their website takes longer to load. So it contributes a lot to it. What I just briefed now as showcase how it contributes to a business and how it contributes to a sales, because business owner just lost a sales they should have gotten from a customer with that day. So and that such kind of user might not come back to visit that website because the experience is there. I feel the person will feel like, oh, I've already visited that website. The website is extremely slow. So in such kind of case, the customer will just go to a competitor. So and when the competitor has much more good experience, like the page loads faster, they can easily navigate within the website. So that experience stick to user, and user will feel like this is my sure plug. Whenever I go there, it's a one click and everything is done within some few milliseconds. So that experience is different. Everybody has this. So that experience, nobody will try to be using a tool that takes up to 10 minutes. And when there is a better tool that takes within 2 minutes, and the experience is completely different. But this one is faster, and this one is slow. A business owner should look into their personal website, their business website, and make sure that they contribute a lot, like they invest a lot and monitor their personal website so that it can become very fast and they can easily convert user with the websites.
So, do you think a poorly optimized mobile website can actually drive customers away? If so, explain to us how that is possible.
Yeah, poorly customized, right?
Optimized, yes, please.
Yeah, so poorly optimized website it can easily drive customers away because when we are talking about optimization, it's more about like the page loads slower, like the website isn't fully responsive on whether desktop, tablet, or mobile. It's not fully responsive in the sense that whether user have to scroll in horizontal axis just to see some button or some overflowing text. Some button isn't easily, you can't click some button easily, or the fonts are too small. So all these characteristics contribute to an optimized non-optimized website. So in such kind of case, when page load slower, user will get frustrated and can easily leave the website, and they might never return to such kind of website. So and when text is very small, we have different eyesight. I don't know how I'm going to put that. So we have some users that they don't like a very tiny text on a website, so they can't see, like these are our old moms, so they can't easily see a very tiny text on a website. So when they visit such kind of website and they see that this text is very small for them to read, they just leave the website immediately. So such kind of thing for a business owner that who needs all customers that visit their website to actually convert to a sales for them. So they need to take all these characteristics into contribution, or they need to take everything into account when they are building a sustainable website. So they need to think of how the font looks and many other things, and how and make sure that buttons are actually clicking. And when you look at this experience, whether users have already selected the product and they click on the checkout button, then the checkout button doesn't work. So immediately, such kind of user will never return to such kind of website, because that experience will stick to them. They'll feel like, I've already clicked on the checkout button, the website is not working. So such kind of thing can actually drive away customers, and eventually they are also losing a lot of sales. So that's complete optimization of website. And when we talk about optimization is not a one-time stuff. Like you have to do it one time and just forget it and just keep the website running. So that's not it. It requires continuous contribution or continuous maintainability of the website. So you have to keep checking the website regularly, page speed load, text button functionalities, and how text are and other things are being presented, so that you will business owner will always make sure that they are giving their customer the best. So
So what would you say are the most common mistakes that these businesses make when they're designing or trying to maintain their websites?
yes, one of the common mistakes most business owner makes is that most of them think of desktop first, and some also think of beautiful, like how it looks. And when you look at people that have real business solutions in mind, they really don't think about how the website looks at first. They only think about how does how will the user experience feel like how users feel when they are using their tool, how user feel like when they navigate within the platform. And now let's think of this scenario whereby user want to check out, then they have to take like 10 steps, like 10 actions before they can check out within your website or within your business. So that actually is weird, because user doesn't when user immediately see what they want to actually get or what they actually want to buy, they just want a up to 2 clicks and everything is done. So but your website is trying to frustrate users. So that actually is a bad experience totally. So users doesn't need, or they doesn't want such kind of thing. And when you look deeply into it, businesses users, when building a standard business for a real user. So that's very important, because building a website is not about thinking about yourself and how you are going to use it. You need to think about how your users are going to use it, because we know we have different kind of users out there. So you have to take different experiences into, or different data into consideration, how this user will feel when using this product, how this user will feel when using it. So it's very or highly very important that we need to consider different users' perspective when using our product, so that we can give them the best experience. So your users don't have to get frustrated when using your product, and they can easily locate or find what they're actually looking for. So most of business owners, they did a lot of issues by thinking the product is being built for them, whereas they didn't consider that their end users are the one that will be using it, and they are the one that will be paying for the product actually. So because that's actually why I said building a product is not about thinking about yourself. You need to consider how user experience it, how users feel about things, how they think of different things, because users saying things on the website, they think of different things. So some people might see a button and they feel like, oh, this, when I click this button, it actually takes me somewhere, or it actually does something. So all these things, they are very tiny thing. So but for a business owner, they have to take everything into factor when building a highly scalable user experience when for their product. So that's just highly it.
Some small business owners, they believe that, having a social media page is more than enough for them. Do you think they still need a dedicated website, even when their social media page is doing the job?
Yes, I highly believe that both end is actually very important. Having a social media platform where they can express their product, and having their own personal website, both is very highly important, because social media is great for visibility and conversion, but you don't actually own that platform. The rules can change overnight. An algorithm update can bury your post. So an account can get suspended anytime when we look into it. So because you can't, we have a lot of accounts that a lot of people have experiences, even though personal socials, like different people have experienced different things on social media platforms. So you did not actually own the website. So for example, or for instance, on Facebook, you didn't nobody Facebook is owned by Meta, so businesses are just there to express and just give their businesses visibility. So, but that's not the case when it comes to a website, because a website is like a real estate you completely control. So it also build more credibility, because when you a serious customer will often check if you have a proper website. So they will often check if you have a proper website. Yeah. So before they fully trust a business. So so when we but within our Nigeria, yeah, most people just see people on socials, but in a standard or for a standard business that has that has their own personal website. So people trust such kind of business far more than a website than a business that just have their presence or their visibility within the social space. So, and I always tell people, use social media to bring people in, but have a website to convert and keep them. Yes, because when we look into it, the data on on your social platform are being owned by the platform itself. Like for on Facebook, the data, everything, all conversions are being displayed and owned by Meta. But when you have your own personal website, you can own user data, track it, analyze it, and know how user behaves within your website and does a lot of things. Because when you have data, you have everything. So that's just it.
Right. Beyond responsive designs, because we've been all about designs, what other feature do you think businesses should prioritize to improve the mobile user experience?
Yeah, first thing is page speed is huge. Nobody waits for a slow website. So clear, simple navigation matters too. So people should find what they need in 2 or 3 steps. So within 2 or 3 steps, they should find whatever they are looking for within your website. So, and we have call to action button. Call to action button should be present on your website. So WhatsApp chats integration, if you want something like that, like you just want people to get straight to you on your WhatsApp or just chat you up. So all these things are very important. So an easy to find location or direction makes a big difference here. It makes a big difference, yes. So assuming now that it's a physical place and user just wants a map location, so that it can direct them to your shops or your location. So it's all these things are to be considered, and they are also one of the way to give your users great experience when using your product. So, and honestly, just cutting clutter, mobile screen are small, and so every unnecessary element competing for attention is rotten. So you have some text on your website that doesn't add anything or any value, or doesn't tell your customers anything. So such kind of text is unnecessary on your platform. So you just want every piece of information on your website must add something to your business, or must tell users, you must tell your customers something about your product. So it's not like adding some random text, or just having things that are unnecessary on your platform. So
Now, are there affordable tools or strategies that the small and medium-sized businesses can actually use to make their websites mobile friendly?
yes, we have some tools. There are some tools out there that small and big businesses can use, and they are commonly used in the space for someone that use it a lot, or for a business that already have experience about it. So we have platforms like WordPress, we have Wix, we have Shopify. Yeah, so and they already have mobile responsive templates built in. So so you are not starting from zero at all. So they are also free to like Google Mobile Friendly Test. So they are it's not called that name anymore. They are calling it Speed Insight now, or Google Search Console, if I can remember. So those tools tell you exactly what's wrong with your current site. So they tells you exactly what's wrong, whether it's on your mobile responsive, or mobile responsive tablet, desktop. They tells you everything. So for businesses on a tighter budget, so even partnering with a local freelance web developer, so for a one-time setup, can be far cheaper than people assume. So and that actually pays a lot. It pays a lot. It pays because when you have a tighter budget, you can just pay a professional freelancing developer who can easily help you to set up a professional one, and the website will be easily it will be up there, and everybody can the experience will be different from not having anything, or does not set up, didn't set up anything for your website. So
All right, so looking ahead, what trends in web design and also mobile technology do you think businesses should prepare for?
yeah, a few things are coming fast. So first thing is voice search is growing. Yeah. So people are typing less and speaking more to find businesses. So we have AI powered chat support is becoming standard for instant consumer service. So we are also seeing more app-like websites experiences that work seamlessly even with weaker internet contribution, or weak internet, weak internet connections. So which matters a lot in our environment here in Nigeria. So and these increases these websites that load faster on lower end devices will have a real competitive advantages, because when, as we've already discussed earlier, when websites load very fast, like the first print is extremely within some few milliseconds, user enjoy and stays within such kind of platform and tries to explore it more than a website that takes longer to load, or the first page takes like 2 minutes. A user can easily swipe away and move to the next tab, or move to the next result on your search list.
All right, before I let you go, what's one piece of advice you'd give any business that hasn't yet optimized its website for the mobile users?
Yeah. If I had to leave business owner with just one thing, don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait for the perfect time. So start now, even with small improvements. So your website is often the very first impression a potential customer has of your business. So, and in today's world, that first impression happens on a phone screen. It happens on a phone screen. So, get that right, and everything else, trust, sales, growth, become so much easier. So that is, thank you.
All right, thank you so much for your insight, Abdul Kabir Musa. It's been a pleasure having you with us.
Thank you too.
Right, of course, we'll be speaking to front-end developer Abdul Kabir Musa, and that's been our focus today on Business Morning. The Breakfast Show continues with the big story after this break. Just stay tuned.
As Nigeria stands at a critical turning point, we move beyond the conversation of mere survival. This year, Business Day presents the 2026 edition of the CEO Forum, themed From Stability to Shared Prosperity. Join the nation's most influential CEOs, policymakers, and business leaders with keynote insights from Taiwo Oyedele, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, and the Central Bank Governor, Olayemi Kadoso, alongside a powerful lineup of voices shaping Nigeria's economic future. Happening on the 16th of July 2026 here in Lagos. For more information, call Uchenna on 0809 645 3535 or Shegun on 0812 024 3167 or Daniel on 0802 756 4653. This is not just a conference. It's where conversations become decisions that shape the future of business. As Nigeria stands at a critical turning point, we move beyond the conversation of mere survival. This year, Business Day presents the 2026 edition of the CEO Forum, themed From Stability to Shared Prosperity. Join the nation's most influential CEOs, policymakers, and business leaders with keynote insights from Taiwo Oyedele, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, and the Central Bank Governor, Olayemi Kadoso, alongside a powerful lineup of voices shaping Nigeria's economic future. Happening on the 16th of July 2026 here in Lagos. For more information, call Uchenna on 0809 645 3535 or Shegun on 0812 024 3167 or Daniel on 0802 756 4653. This is not just a conference. It's where conversations become decisions that shape the future of business.
Behind the Headline, where we take a deeper look at some of the biggest stories making the pages of Business Day. Our story today is on governors getting powers to appoint commissioners under the new state police bill. And our guest analyst today is Joshua Bassi, who's the editorial director, Business Day Television. My name is Akiminiobong Michael. Nigeria's long-running debate over state police may have reached a turning point as the state Senate has passed a constitutional amendment bill that would allow states to establish their own police services, with governors empowered to appoint state police commissioners and oversee local policing operations. Now, supporters say it could improve security by bringing policing closer to the people, while critics worry about the potential for political abuse. Joshua, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Kemi, for having me. Yeah.
I hope your day has been going great.
Very good.
All right. Now let's move to this. We spoke about this earlier on, about the bill that has just been spoken about and the different parts of it. Now today, right now, we're going to be breaking down the different parts of it. But first, let's start with, for the viewers who may have not, followed the story closely, what exactly are the key provisions of the state police bill? And why exactly is it being described as a landmark reform?
Okay, thanks, Ekemini, once again. It has been described as a landmark reform because since 1999, in fact, since Nigeria's independence in 1960, we've run a central policing system where the command, flows all the way from the federal government. So we've not. This is the very first time we're going to have states actually having some level of control over police, or so to say, or have their own state police services, where the governors will be able to play very critical role in terms of appointment of commissioners of police in their respective states. So that's why it's a landmark reform, landmark constitutional reform. So to that extent, that's why it's described that way. But a key provision of the law is that one is going to allow governors to appoint a state police. Secondly, it's going to allow state government to now constitutionally fund police and policing. Of course, again, it's also going to allow state houses of assembly, come up with a law to establish a state police service in each state of the federation. So those are some of the key provisions of this bill. Of course, as we go further, there are other key things that we might just talk about.
Elaborate on it.
Just to introductory, just to show that those are some of the key provisions of the bill.
Now, this report highlights that governors would have the power to appoint state police commissioners. Now, how exactly is this different from the current Nigeria structure of policing, and why is it a significant shift?
Okay, so the major difference here is that currently governors don't appoint commissioners of police, right? Commissioners of police is also, commissioner of police appointment is also a rank.
Yes.
And so if you have stay in the police, gone to the rank, and then you get to the rank of the commissioner of police, and then it means that you are at that level, you can be appointed to oversee the state command. But all along, what we've been having as we speak is that the federal government, of course, the president appoint the IG, who is the Inspector General of Police, and of course, it is then the IG who would then, post Commissioner of Police to the various states of the federation. So that's the major difference between what we currently have and what we are expected to have under the new reform that police reform that we're talking about here.
Now, one of the biggest concerns about state policing has always been the possibility of governors using security agencies against mostly political opponents right now. But based on this particular report, what safeguards do you think that the bill proposes to address this fear?
Yeah, that fear is being taken care of. I mean, under the proposed bill, because one, the governor is not going to be the one to act. The governor will appoint, but he will not be the one to recommend. Okay, so the bill has made provision for National Police Council. They're going to have a National Police Council. The National Police Council is the body that will recommend, right? So, and then it's not just that the National Police Council will recommend. After that recommendation, the state houses of assembly, okay, will look at it and ratify if they are satisfied with that recommendation. It is only that, only after that, the governor that will be able to then appoint, right? So those are some of the safeguards. So basically to address the issue, the fear that the governor might just, can just pick anybody. So is the governor just going to pick anybody? He doesn't even have the power, to just to recommend, to decide who becomes the commissioner of police in that state. Even that's what the law provides for. So the National Police Council recommend, and of course the state governor, the state legislators, the lawmakers in each of the states, state of the federation, will then look at it, that satisfied, then of course pass it on. The governor would then appoint. Now, after that appointment, it doesn't end there, just also to check the governors from abusing their power. So the law, the new bill also makes provision for how to remove, the commissioner of police so appointed. So the governor cannot just wake up and say, "Oh, I don't like your face. I mean, you don't do what I want," and then can just terminate the appointment. No, it's not going to be like that. So it's also going to go through the same procedure.
System as well.
The National Police Council, if they find out that probably the commissioner of police is not doing exactly what he should do, or maybe if he has done anything, that warrants him being removed from office, so the governor will not just wake up. So the National Police Council will recommend his removal. It will go to the State House of Assembly. 2/3 majority of the State House of Assembly will have to sign to it for the government to then be able to remove such a police commissioner. So those are some of the so those are some of the safeguards to prevent the governor from abusing their powers.
In all of this, how much oversight does the federal government have in all of this?
Sure. There's still the federal policing system. It's not as if this law, I mean, this bill that is coming, does not, remove the current federal policing system that we are still going to have IGP, the Inspector General of Police, of course, that will be appointed by the president, the same way we're having it right now. But like the National Police Council is a federal council. So to that extent, you can see that the federal government still have some level of control over what it is that will be going on at the state level. Again, in terms of in terms of funding, of course, the state will form. The state will be the state will form, but to also ensure that the federal government still also have some level of control is that where the state's police service, or where the state government, or where the police service so created by the state by the provision of this law is not able to adequately carry out their function of ensuring safety of life and properties in any state, the federal police will still come in to play a role, right? So that's another way of it. But again, of course, that maybe not all the states may take off with the state police at the same time. So in states where there is no state police, the federal police will still be the one to oversee safety and security of lives and property in such states until every state is able to. So any state right now, by the time the law comes into effect, any state that is not able to quickly establish its own state police, and the federal police will still be the one to oversee the policing in such states. Those are some of the federal influence that we still have under the new law that we hope
it will be passed.
It will be passed when all, like I said the other time, when everything is done, when this is passed. These are some of the federal, areas where federal government can still come into play some role.
Now, speaking of this whole bill, now when the law is passed, what exactly are your thoughts on employability and employment? Because generally in policing right now, there is a low, would I say, registration for people to even join the police force. Exactly. For people to join the police force. Now with this state policing and people understanding now, because I know most people's fears, I've spoken to people about joining the police, and their fear is that they will be dumped in another state, that they don't know the language, that they don't understand anything. Now, do you think this would encourage citizens to become police officers? What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, fine. Let me even, before actually answering that question, I remember after my OND program, so then there was a policeman who just wanted me to join the police, and I said, look, I won't join the police. He was, why are you not? I said, look, I just don't like the police. I can't find myself becoming a policeman.
The bad PR that police has.
I don't want to join. So there may be people like me who had the opportunity or are having the opportunity, but they just pull back because of one thing or the other, that they may have found not so interesting about the police force. Yeah, so in terms of recruitment now, and we're getting people to enroll and become a policeman and become policewomen, one of the reasons why people pull back, like I said, is maybe the bad image, then bad, poor welfare,
True.
poor salary,
even pension,
pension, and all of those things. Those are some of the things. So again, you talk about posting people from one state. Maybe you move you from your locality to a place where you don't even know anything about, which is also one of the reasons why this state police is actually necessary.
Yes.
Because it's going to address that situation where someone is moved, for instance, let's say from Kebbi, to transfer a policeman all the way from Kebbi, let's say to maybe Bayelsa. He doesn't know the terrain. So there's little or nothing he can do in terms of actually tackling, insecurity.
And he can't even speak the language.
He doesn't speak the language. He doesn't blend with the local.
He doesn't understand their culture.
He doesn't understand their culture. Yeah. He doesn't blend with the local. So it becomes difficult for him to do effective policing.
Yes.
Okay, but the state police is going to take care of that, right? Because people are going to be sourced from the locality, to be able to, to recruit people from the locality to become policemen, to become policewomen, and they understand the terrain. They know, okay, this is my area. They probably grew up there,
yes.
And so they know the nooks and crannies of the area. So that would allow for effective policing. And so this is one of the areas where this state police bill, when established, when standing to land established, will actually take care of. I believe it will allow for effective policing, because it is the people who know the area that will be recruited to become policemen and policewomen within their states.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, even if the bill eventually becomes law, what practical challenges do you think that they could face from both funding, staffing, and managing the police? This is for the state government.
Yeah, definitely. There will be challenges. There's no doubt about that. But I just hope that they'll be able to, navigate those challenges. For instance, the challenge of funding will be there. There's no doubt about it. But of course, this is a time for the governors themselves to, actually make effective use of the security votes that we've been hearing. We've been hearing security votes, some of which, run into millions and billions of naira that we really don't know how they are utilized by the government. So this, the creation of state police will now actually allow them to actually bring that fund to actually effectively fund the police. So yes, there will be challenge of funding. There's no doubt about that, because not all of the state, all the 36 states probably be able to fund. But of course, it's also going to depend on the capacity to fund, the capacity to take care of the welfare of the police, the capacity to properly keep them, to be able to do what it is that they have to do, the capacity to also, and when we talk about kitting them, in terms of their uniform they wear, in terms of the boot, in terms of the cap, in terms of not just the arms and ammunition, because this time around we are going to have state police that will be able to bear arms and ammunition. And one of the reasons is, of course, for the state police that look, for instance, we have, for instance, in Lagos State, neighborhood watch, right? Yeah. We have in other southwest states what we call Amotekun. And some other states that are, some what looks like state police, so to say, but they don't bear arms. And so the reason is that, the reason why they don't bear arms, and that of course makes them vulnerable. Whenever these bandits, terrorists, are launching an attack, they can't face them, they can't confront them. So the next thing would be for them to run away, and so allowing the bandits to have a field day, kidnapping people and all of that. So the state will actually face the challenge of properly kitting these policemen and women that are going to be state policemen and state policewomen. They have to fund them properly for them to be able to effectively do the policing work. So the challenge will be there. Of course, part of the challenges that we have talked about is also how the law or the bill is trying to checkmate the states governors from abusing
the power.
So Those are some of those challenges I think they will face. But of course, some of those fears have been, taken care of. But it's just for, like they say, if you do not test the food, you wouldn't even know.
You would not know how it tastes.
How sweet it is. So I think by the time, it kicks off and it runs, we'll be able to see how effectively it will work.
But from the look of things, we can see that there are several states that might just do better than other states.
Certainly.
When it comes to funding,
Certainly.
taking care of, and all of that.
Certainly, because not all the states are, in terms of in terms of what goes to the state from the federation account, let's even in terms of what goes from the federation account. Not all the states are receiving the same amount of money.
Sure.
I mean, for instance, Lagos get bigger sum from the federation account. Maybe the Niger Delta states, because of a 13% derivation, they get something higher. That's what other states get. There are some states that get very little. So, of course, they might face that funding challenges. Okay, they might also face, in terms of even recruitment, not all of the states are going to have the same, number of policemen and women under their control. Some may probably say, okay, we can do with, let's say, 50,000. Some may say, okay, we can recruit as many as 100,000 because we have the capacity to fund them. We have the capacity to properly keep them to be able to do what they have to do. So yes, not all the states are going to. Of course, I also believe that not all the states may take off at the same time.
At the same time,
there are some who may just let's keep slow until we're able to do it. Like I said earlier on, where such is the case, of course, the federal police will, of course, take care of such states. But for states that will be able to, take off and then fund their state police, of course, they should be able to do something good.
Now, before we wrap up, there's one particular question I've been wanting to ask. Do you believe that this state policing now will push governors and the state government generally to maybe industrialize their states so as to be able to fund several things?
Well, I mean, if we talk of industrializing the state, they shouldn't wait for state police.
I mean,
okay? I know,
most people complain about security
but
as
they
well.
shouldn't wait for the creation of state police for them to realize that they have to industrialize their
But it might push them because not a lot of them have that mindset of building. Not a lot of them have that mindset of building the states. But maybe this new bill or new law, if it's passed, will push them to do something or to start something.
Because they will need funding, right, for them. So probably but yeah, they should. But like I said, yeah, they need to industrialize the states. Should not be tied to state police. I mean, I want to believe that any governor who is truly interested in industrializing the state should be able to create environment, business-friendly environment that allow investors to come and invest in that state, investors to come and establish industries in their states. It shouldn't be because of the state police, but of course, if they're able to, maybe this time around, they're going to have state police and say, okay, look, we have something huge to fund. And so we need industries, of course, to be able to, because for them to be able to generate fund, especially internally generated revenue, to be able to fund. And so it should give them a push anywhere for them to be able to look for more money and to be able to fund, because funding is going to be huge. There's no doubt about that. It's going to be huge.
Permit us to go on behind the headlines today. And thank you so much, Mr. Joshua Bassey, for coming in. That's how far time will permit us to go on behind the headlines today. Thank you once again, Joshua Bassey, for sharing your insights with us on this. And thank you for watching. Have yourselves a beautiful day. My name is Akeminiobong Michael.
Pleasure of welcoming great supporters and friends from INMA. He's the president, and then of course Wilkinson, and then Dorin is heading the work in Africa.
Honored that you're hosting us today. We look forward to a positive exchange of ideas and strategies to make our industry better. With me is Al Wilkinson. He's President and Executive Director of International News Media Association. All the way from Ghana. And we're happy to have him here. I'll let him tell you guys more about him and why he's here.
I would leave you with the idea about Business Day. No platform can take it. No AI can replicate it. No competitor can buy it. So here's a little advice. Defend it. Build it. Invest in it. Because folks, the decade ahead is going to belong to news organizations that are unmistakably themselves. They're not boring. They're not neutral. Who are you? Answer that question and you'll figure out the next one. Thanks a lot.
As Nigeria stands at a critical turning point, we move beyond the conversation of mere survival. This year, Business Day presents the 2026 edition of the CEO Forum, themed From Stability to Shared Prosperity. Join the nation's most influential CEOs, policymakers, and business leaders with keynote insights from Taiwo Oyedele, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, and the Central Bank Governor, Olayemi Kadoso, alongside a powerful lineup of voices shaping Nigeria's economic future. Happening on the 16th of July 2026 here in Lagos. For more information, call Uchenna on 0809 645 3535 or Shegun on 0812 024 3167 or Daniel on 0802 756 4653. This is not just a conference. It's where conversations become decisions that shape the future of business. As Nigeria stands at a critical turning point, we move beyond the conversation of mere survival. This year, Business Day presents the 2026 edition of the CEO Forum, themed From Stability to Shared Prosperity. Join the nation's most influential CEOs, policymakers, and business leaders with keynote insights from Taiwo Oyedele, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, and the Central Bank Governor, Olayemi Kadoso, alongside a powerful lineup of voices shaping Nigeria's economic future. Happening on the 16th of July 2026 here in Lagos. For more information, call Uchenna on 0809 645 3535 or Shegun on 0812 024 3167 or Daniel on 0802 756 4653. This is not just a conference. It's where conversations become decisions that shape the future of business.
And you're welcome back to the Breakfast Show. Now we head to the big story segment. And as flooding continues to threaten communities across Nigeria, attention is shifting beyond rainfall to how cities are planned, buildings are designed, and construction standards are enforced. Experts say smarter construction practices, proper inspections, and stronger compliance with building regulations could help reduce the impact of flooding and create more resilient communities. And to discuss how the built environment can be part of the solution, we are joined by Caspar Chidubem, is the president of Home Inspectors Nigeria Limited. Good morning, Caspar. It's good to have you on The Big Story.
Thank you very much for having me once again. You know, flooding is often seen as a weather problem, but in reality, it is also a planning, construction, and maintenance challenge. You know, heavy rainfall is something we cannot control, but where we build, how we build, and how we maintain our community, those are decisions that we can actually
Amazing introduction there. All right, let's get into it. We know that flooding has become a recurring challenge across Nigeria. Now, from a construction perspective, what factors do you think are making the impact worse?
Well, heavy rainfall is only one part of the story. Several factors increase the severity of flooding. Some of them are building on a natural floodplain, poor urban planning, blocked drainages due to this indiscriminate dumping of refuse. I mean, we see how even working class people early in the morning put trash in their boots and then toss it on the street on their way to work. Inadequate side drainage and also undersized stormwater infrastructure, as well as lack of regular maintenance and poor workmanship when it comes to the construction of these drainages. I mean, many times we see drainages constructed and before 2 years, or sometimes even within a year, that drainage has collapsed or he has started eroding. So rainfall doesn't create weaknesses, it actually just reveals them.
All right, beyond heavy rainfall, how much of Nigeria's flooding challenge is linked to poor planning, construction practices, and the non-compliance with standards?
It's a significant proportion, I can tell you that for free. Flooding becomes disastrous when development ignores natural environment. You have to build with your natural environment. When buildings are constructed across drainage channels, when regulations are not followed, when approvals are overlooked, or even when construction quality is compromised, the consequences become much severe and even greater during the heavy rainfall. This is why planning, enforcement, and professional oversight are just as important as the rainfall itself.
And we can both agree that many developments are located in flood-prone areas. So what role do you think professionals, or what role should professionals in the built environments play in preventing these risks?
Professionals have a responsibility to protect lives before project even begins. The architects, the engineers, builders, surveyors, planners, even we inspectors should collectively ensure that developments respond to the characteristics of the site rather than forcing the site to adapt to the building. Sometimes the safest professional advice is simply to say this is not the right place to build, or this is not the right way to build in this place. Professional integrity, I mean, this is where it becomes critical.
So how important, let's talk building inspections now. How do you think it's important in identifying the risk and also ensuring that structures are safer and more resilient?
First, I will tell anyone who gets to listen that flood resilience does not start with the rainy season. It starts with the way we build our communities, the way we build our homes, and the way we maintain them. So, to this regard, building inspectors are, we are an important layer when it comes to independent quality assurance. An inspection, though, cannot stop the rain, but what it does for you is that it identifies the vulnerabilities that during this period, such as poor drainages, structural sectors, unsafe waterproofing, no waterproofing at all, inadequate roof drainage or poor roofing, settlements, moisture intrusion, and even maintenance deficiencies. The earlier these issues are identified, the easier and less expensive they are to address. I mean, we've always said prevention is cheaper than cure.
So, well, what about building inspections? How important, or you just spoke to us about the building inspections and how important it is. Let's now talk about construction mistakes. What are the common construction mistakes that, you know, make buildings more vulnerable during flooding?
Off the top of my head, I would say some of those mistakes would include building too low. Most of our properties are built lower than the actual drainage, and that makes it a problem off the bat. Poor site grading, no drainage planning, undersized gutters, poor waterproofing, especially at foundation level, weak retaining walls, and ignoring soil conditions. I cannot overstate this enough. Before you build, you need to understand the kind of soil you are building on. Also, inferior materials have their role to play. And then I would always say lack of maintenance. So small construction shortcuts often become major failures when the weather gets extreme, like we've been experiencing in the past few days.
All right, so you know, I don't know if you've seen that video. A very grokey video has been trending since yesterday about a drainage that was really stuck. I'm sure you must have seen the video. And we often blame the drainage system when it comes to flood. But what do you think developers and property owners are doing, or they can do differently when designing buildings?
Okay, first off, I'm sure at least the YouTube can fact that most developers seem to be only concerned with the actual building itself. But developers should learn to look beyond the building. I mean, it's only one part of the whole site. The important and critical factor here is that water must find its safe path from structure, and we can do this through many ways. Proper site grading, adequate drainage channels, rainwater management. You know, when you have a good rainwater management system in your property, that helps a lot. Correct gutter sizing, and then using permeable landscaping when appropriate. You are so used to putting concrete everywhere. Sometimes it's just good to have a nice lawn or probably even interlocks so that the water can seep to the floor where appropriate. Also, routine maintenance after completion is also very key.
Are there construction methods or maybe materials that can help reduce flood damage?
Well, I'll say proper reinforced concrete construction, you know, good waterproofing systems, BPCs and all of that, elevated ceiling floor levels, durable external finishes, very durable ones, quality roofing systems, proper foundation design, and all-round appropriate drainage solutions. But there's really no miracle material, if I must say. I mean, but I'll tell you that good design and good workmanship matter far more than expensive products.
No, this is something I like to say. People that know me know already. I believe that Nigeria has building regulations that are good on paper, but the problem that we have is the enforcement, which has remained a challenge. So where do you think the biggest gap exists? Is it in the enforcement or the regulation itself?
Well, I stand with you 100%. I believe it lies in the enforcement. Nigeria actually has competent professionals, and they do have the regulations, but consistency is where we lack. Efficient management. The issue is ensuring that standards are applied consistently from planning approvals through to construction and even to the long-term maintenance. So I'll say better collaboration between regulators, professionals, developers, and even property owners would definitely strengthen the outcomes when it comes to flooding.
So how can home inspections become more common among Nigerians, especially for people buying or moving into properties? Because we don't really have that as common as we should.
Yes, and that is a mindset that we need to change. I mean, we know that people routinely service their cars, and many of them even have maintenance plans for even their generators. But when it comes to homes, which often is the largest investment that people ever make, they are hardly ever independently inspected. But I pray that as awareness grows, inspections will become a normal part of buying, building, and even maintaining a property. So I would say awareness is the key.
So what lessons, because I think now we have to take lessons from other countries. So what lessons do you think Nigeria can learn from other countries that build cities and infrastructure to better manage flooding?
Well, I mean, for those who have been able to or privileged to visit countries where they've been able to properly tackle these flooding issues, I would say they share 5 things in common. You know, that would be strong planning, effective drainage infrastructure, proper waste disposal mechanisms that actually work, consistent enforcement of their regulations and laws that protect the built environment, and a culture of maintenance. Those principles are transferable regardless of geology or country.
So with the urban growth, what changes do you think needs to happen now to ensure that the future developments are flood resilient?
Well, better planning, for one. We need to just plan better. And we need to now start having clients with resilient infrastructure. Another thing that will work now, Lagos is already a built-up place, and I think most cities in Nigeria are smart drainage systems. Of course, we need stronger enforcement. We need to start educating the public, and a better waste management system and policies. I think, like you said earlier, we have the policies, but enforcing better waste management systems would also go a long way. Independent quality assurance has a part to play as well, and then regular building and construction maintenance.
All right, finally, Caspar, before I let you go, for the average home owner or developer, what do you think are the key things they should consider when building or buying property in flood-prone areas?
Okay, I'll give them these 5 practical tips. One is that you have to know your flood history before buying the land or the property. That is very essential. The second is to ensure that the draining around the property is clear and functional. The third would be to maintain your roof and gutter before every rainy season. That is very important. Maintain your roofs and your gutters before every rainy season. And then don't ignore dampness or cracks. And most especially, if you're buying a property, obtain an independent professional inspection before committing. That is how you protect your investment in the long run.
Thank you very much for your insights this morning, Caspar. It was really good to have you. And of course, we're on to Caspar Chudubem. He's the president of Home Inspectors Nigeria Limited. And that's it on the big story this morning. We examined how better construction practices can help protect Nigeria against flooding. Up next is the social listening. Just stay with us.
As Nigeria stands at a critical turning point, we move beyond the conversation of mere survival. This year, Business Day presents the 2026 edition of the CEO Forum, themed From Stability to Shared Prosperity. Join the nation's most influential CEOs, policymakers, and business leaders with keynote insights from Taiwo Oyedele, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, and the Central Bank Governor, Olayemi Kadoso, alongside a powerful lineup of voices shaping Nigeria's economic future. Happening on the 16th of July 2026 here in Lagos. For more information, call Uchenna on 0809 645 3535 or Shegun on 0812 024 3167 or Daniel on 0802 756 4653. This is not just a conference. It's where conversations become decisions that shape the future of business. As Nigeria stands at a critical turning point, we move beyond the conversation of mere survival. This year, Business Day presents the 2026 edition of the CEO Forum, themed From Stability to Shared Prosperity. Join the nation's most influential CEOs, policymakers, and business leaders with keynote insights from Taiwo Oyedele, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, and the Central Bank Governor, Olayemi Kadoso, alongside a powerful lineup of voices shaping Nigeria's economic future. Happening on the 16th of July 2026 here in Lagos. For more information, call Uchenna on 0809 645 3535 or Shegun on 0812 024 3167 or Daniel on 0802 756 4653. This is not just a conference. It's where conversations become decisions that shape the future of business. As Nigeria stands at a critical turning point, we move beyond the conversation of mere survival. This year, Business Day presents the 2026 edition of the CEO Forum, themed From Stability to Shared Prosperity. Join the nation's most influential CEOs, policymakers, and business leaders with keynote insights from Taiwo Oyedele, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, and the Central Bank Governor, Olayemi Kadoso, alongside a powerful lineup of voices shaping Nigeria's economic future. Happening on the 16th of July 2026 here in Lagos. For more information, call Uchenna on 0809 645 3535 or Shegun on 0812 024 3167 or Daniel on 0802 756 4653. This is not just a conference. It's where conversations become decisions that shape the future of business. As Nigeria stands at a critical turning point, we move beyond the conversation of mere survival. This year, Business Day presents the 2026 edition of the CEO Forum, themed From Stability to Shared Prosperity. Join the nation's most influential CEOs, policymakers, and business leaders with keynote insights from Taiwo Oyedele, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, and the Central Bank Governor, Olayemi Kadoso, alongside a powerful lineup of voices shaping Nigeria's economic future. Happening on the 16th of July 2026 here in Lagos. For more information, call Uchenna on 0809 645 3535 or Shegun on 0812 024 3167 or Daniel on 0802 756 4653. This is not just a conference. It's where conversations become decisions that shape the future of business.
pleasure of welcoming great supporters and friends from INMA. He's the president, and then of course L. Wilkinson, and then Dorin is heading the work in Africa.
Honored that you're hosting us today. We look forward to a positive exchange of ideas and strategies to make our industry better. With me is Al Wilkinson. He's President and Executive Director of International News Media Association. All welcome, guys. And we're happy to have him here. I'll let him tell you guys more about him and why he's here.
I would leave you with the idea about Business Day. No platform can take it. No AI can replicate it. No competitor can buy it. So here's a little advice. Defend it. Build it. Invest in it. Because folks, the decade ahead is going to belong to news organizations that are unmistakably themselves. They're not boring. They're not neutral. Who are you? Answer that question and you'll figure out the next one. Thanks a lot.
As Nigeria stands at a critical turning point, we move beyond the conversation of mere survival. This year, Business Day presents the 2026 edition of the CEO Forum, themed From Stability to Shared Prosperity. Join the nation's most influential CEOs, policymakers, and business leaders with keynote insights from Taiwo Oyedele, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, and the Central Bank Governor, Olayemi Kadoso, alongside a powerful lineup of voices shaping Nigeria's economy on the 16th of July 2026 here in Lagos. For more information, call Uchenna on 0809-645-3535 or Shegun on 0812-024-3167 or Daniel on 0802-756-4653. This is not just a conference. It's where conversations become decisions that shape the future of business. As Nigeria stands at a critical turning point, we move beyond the conversation of mere survival. This year, Business Day presents the 2026 edition of the CEO Forum, themed From Stability to Shared Prosperity. Join the nation's most influential CEOs, policymakers, and business leaders with keynote insights from Taiwo Oyedele, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, and the Central Bank Governor, Olayemi Kadoso, alongside a powerful lineup of voices shaping Nigeria's economic future. Happening on the 16th of July 2026 here in Lagos. For more information, call Uchenna on 0809-645-3535 or Shegun on 0812-024-3167 or Daniel on 0802-756-4653. This is not just a conference. It's where conversations become decisions that shape the future of business.
Pleasure of welcoming great supporters and friends from INMA. He's the president, and then of course L. Wilkinson, and then Dorin is heading the work in Africa.
Honored that you're hosting us today. We look forward to a positive exchange of ideas and strategies to make our industry better. With me is Al Wilkinson. He's President and Executive Director of International Media Association. All right, guys. And we're happy to have him here. I'll let him tell you guys more about him and why he's here.
I would leave you with the idea about Business Day. No platform can take it. No AI can replicate it. No competitor can buy it. So here's a little advice. Defend it. Build it. Invest in it. Because folks, the decade ahead is going to belong to news organizations that are unmistakably themselves. They're not boring. They're not neutral. Who are you? Answer that question and you'll figure out the next one. Thanks a lot.
As Nigeria stands at a critical turning point, we move beyond the conversation of mere survival. This year, Business Day presents the 2026 edition of the CEO Forum, themed From Stability to Shared Prosperity. Join the nation's most influential CEOs, policymakers, and business leaders with keynote insights from Taiwo Oyedele, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, and the Central Bank Governor, Olayemi Kadoso, alongside a powerful lineup of voices shaping Nigeria's economic future. Happening on the 16th of July 2026 here in Lagos. For more information, call Uchenna on 0809-645-3535 or Shegun on 0812-024-3167 or Daniel on 0802-756-4653. This is not just a conference. It's where conversations become decisions that shape the future of business.
Welcome back to the social listening segment. Like my producer Amanda Vino like to say, if it's packing conversations, then we're bringing it to your seats. Welcome to the social listening segment, where we bring you the stories, debates, and moments generating conversations across social media. I am Deborah Eze. And now let's get into what is making the waves online. For the first conversation today, troops of Operation Adinkai have rescued 10 NECO candidates and teachers abducted during a terrorist attack on the Lassa community in Askira, Uba local government area of Borno State. According to the military, the attack occurred at about 9 a.m. on Monday when suspected Islamic State West African province terrorists on motorcycles stormed the Lassa community, opening fire. The troops, with support from air platforms providing aerial guidance, made contact with the terrorists around Dago, resulting in the successful rescue of 10 victims who were unarmed. Now let's take a look at the tweets. Let's see what netizens are saying about the story. And of course, the first reaction from Ifeanyi Danda, and he said, what about the last one? You know, don't use them as sacrificial lamb, Abi. Well, it's normal for you people. Another reaction from Timmy, and he said, excellent work by the Nigerian army. One more child to bring home. Keep the pressure on. And finally from Fujiverse, and he said, why is their clothes clean? Like, who then go find for house? Come. So first of all, it's good news that those 10 NECO candidates, or the 10 NECO candidates, are back with their families, and the Nigerian troops deserve credit for making that happen. But beyond that relief lies a more uncomfortable question. Why were the students sitting for an examination in an environment where, you know, terrorists could interrupt their future with guns? We say education is supposed to be a pathway to hope and not a life-threatening exercise. So we celebrate the successful rescue mission, and rightfully so, the bigger victory is making sure that rescue missions aren't needed in the first place, if you ask me. And until students can write exams without looking over their shoulders, we still have a long way to go as a country. Now on to the second conversation today. A notorious bandit leader, Kachala Mahama, has claimed he has the capacity to kidnap top government officials, including state government or state governors, while alleging that he receives advanced information about security operations before they are carried out. Mahama made the claims in a recorded audio message while accusing authorities of refusing to release some of his arrested associates and confiscated cattle, insisting that the government's actions had forced him to escalate attacks across affected communities. Let's take a look at the video or the audio that was recorded. All right, let's take a look at what netizens are saying concerning this story. And the first one from Oluwa Osadeba, and he said, please sir, do that and leave the poor people alone and go for the governors. Now, this person is encouraging Mahama to actually go for the governors, the senator. In fact, any government officials, please just grant our request. Another one from Kingmaker, and he said, I think our prayers are working now. This news make my day if it is true. Another one from the Underdog, and he said, if he actually achieves this, many might see him as a messiah. And that is actually true, judging from the reactions that we actually, got from that story. He had actually alleged, Mahama, he actually alleged that he has access to confidential security information through individuals within the security system, and claiming they allowed him to planned military offensive and other security strategies before they are actually, recruited. And, it's one thing for a criminal to hide in the shadows, and it's on another different level for a bandit leader to speak so confidently and boast about having inside information and even issue ultimatums as though he's in charge. Now, if these claims are true, then the problem goes beyond banditry. It actually points to possible leaks within the very system meant to protect Nigerians, meant to protect you and I. And if they are false, they still serve one purpose: to undermine public confidence and project strength. Either way, the authorities owe Nigerians more than silence. Security isn't just about firepower. It's about trust, intelligence, and staying one step ahead of the criminals and not the other way. Hopefully we get to hear from the right authorities as to why this type of audio is actually flying out. But finally, let's take a look at the last story on social listening today. And parts of the national capital, Accra, have experienced varying degrees of devastating floods, with homes submerged, while the Ghana Meteorological Service has forecast more heavy rainfall in the coming days. And I'm sure we have a video to that. Let's take a look at the video.
That black or on side or down side. A man for fear that you know. That black or on a side or on a side. A man for fear na you know. That black or on a side or on a side. A man for fear na you know.
In collaboration with the 48th Engineer Regiment of the Ghana Armed Forces, has intensified rescue operations already. But let's take a look at some of the reactions, how netizens are reacting to this. The first reaction from Ga Manta, and he said, on Manse, and he said, this flood is man-made due to illegally erected buildings. Maybe the government will now realize mercy or release mercy to law breakers is cruelty to law-abiding citizens. I didn't really get that tweet, but okay, Manse. Another reaction, we have that Stoic, and he said, it's time the youth stand up for their basic rights at least. And finally, on that story, we have Abibat, and he or she said, this flooding problem sits well beyond what drainage can fix. We live near the sea, right in the route water takes from higher ground to reach it. Build over the route and flooding becomes the natural consequence. In my opinion, that image that we saw, the video from Accra, really heartbreaking. People wading through waist-deep water. And that is the similar situation that we are actually facing right here in Nigeria. And because of that, we can see businesses being disrupted, families stranded, and lives actually turned upside down. But sadly, this story actually sounds all too familiar across many African cities. Like I pointed out, here in Nigeria, this is the same thing we are actually going on in this rainy season, because every rainy season we blame the weather, but the real issue often lies beneath the water. It is poor drainage, blocked waterways, weak urban planning, and years of neglected infrastructure. So yes, climate change is making extreme weather more frequent, but our response cannot remain the same year after year, the same story, the same headlines year after year. Flooding should not be accepted as a seasonal tradition. And if our cities are growing, then our infrastructure must also grow with them. Otherwise, every rainfall will continue to expose the cost of planning, and we will just scream and shout at the government, and it ends there. And of course, that's a wrap on the conversation making the waves across social media in Nigeria today. Thank you for watching the social listening segment. I am Deborah Eze. And of course, we bring to a close of the breakfast show this morning. We took you through the morning news, the newspaper review, the business morning, the big story, which we actually talked about the flooding system in Nigeria and infrastructure system in Nigeria. And finally, the social listening segment. Until we come your way again tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., same time. Do have yourself a beautiful morning.
Pleasure of welcoming great supporters and friends from INMA. He's the president, and then of course L. Wilkinson, and then Dorin is heading the work in Africa.
Honored that you're hosting us today. We look forward to a positive exchange of ideas and strategies to make our industry better. With me is Al Wilkinson. He's President and Executive Director of International Media Association, all the way from Ghana. And we're happy to have him here. I'll let him tell you guys more about him and why he's here.
idea about business days. No platform can take it. No AI can replicate it. No competitor can buy it. So here's a little advice. Defend it. Build it. Invest in it. Because folks, the decade ahead is going to belong to huge organizations that are unmistakably themselves. They're not boring. They're not neutral. Who are you? Answer that question. You'll figure out the next one. Thanks a lot.
Hello and welcome to the big story right here on the Business Day television. My name is Elizabeth Musa. Oil palm has long been a major part of Nigeria's agricultural story. Once one of the world's leading producers, the sector has faced challenges ranging from limited processing capacity to gaps in investment, technology and market competitiveness. Meanwhile, countries like Malaysia have built a globally recognized oil palm industry by developing stronger value chains, improving production systems and creating international trade partnerships. Following discussions around market access and trade collaboration at the recently held Malaysia Market Connect in Lagos, questions around the future of oil palm, value addition, and Nigeria's place in the global market have come to the forefront. So what can Nigeria learn from Malaysia's journey and how can partnerships reshape the future of this sector? Well, joining us this morning is Prince Olawale Suleiman, as the president of Malaysia's Traders Market. Thank you so much for joining us, Prince Suleiman.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for giving us your time this morning, this lovely Monday morning. It's good to have you. Now, let's talk about oil palm, which remains a major economic commodity globally. Looking at Nigeria's history with oil palm, where do you think the country stands today?
Thank you so much, Lily, for giving me the privilege of being on this program this morning. Yeah, Nigeria has a rich history with oil palm, as we all know, being one of the largest producers and exporters in the world. In the 60s, we were leading in the world as the number one producer of oil palm. However, over the years, the sector has faced challenges, including competition from the sales of crude oil and neglect of agricultural sector and issues related to infrastructure processing. Today, Nigeria is still a significant player in the global oil palm market, ranking among the top producers. But however, we all know it has not yet regained its former status as one of the leading major producers of oil palm. The country has a very huge potential for growth, especially due to our favorable climatic condition and growing domestic market, considering the consumer market in Nigeria. Recent government initiatives through an investment in agribusiness could enhance productivity and competitiveness. Well, in summary, Nigeria stands at the crossroad. It has the potential to reclaim its presence in the oil palm industry, but this will require a strategic investment, improved infrastructure, and a focus on sustainable practice.
Thank you, Prince Suleiman. You've alluded to the fact that Nigeria was once a dominant force in oil palm production, but we've seen Malaysia now has grown into one of the biggest players globally. As a matter of fact, second place after Indonesia. What change and what lessons can Nigeria take from Malaysia's experience going forward?
In my own opinion, Nigeria declined in oil palm production, while Nigeria declined definitely, we all know. I mean, from leading country in the 60s to maybe number 4 or 5 these days. While Malaysia rise can be attributed can be attributed to several key factors. I lived in Malaysia in the past 25 years, and I learned a lot from Malaysian palm plantation development. So one of the major reasons, one of the major areas where Nigeria can learn from Malaysia is how Malaysia invested. So Malaysian government invested heavily in research and development, leading to adoption of high-yielding oil palm varieties and improved farming practices that help the growth of Malaysian oil palm industry. While on the other hand, Nigeria lacked similar investment, as we can see today. We have the potential, but yet we lack the investment power to grow our production. Then we talk about government policies too. Proactive policies and incentive supported plantation development and export, including land access and subsidies, are one of the major implementation of Malaysian government that really help Malaysian palm plantation industry. Unlike in Nigeria, it is our inconsistent policies and regulatory challenges have made it difficult for farmers. Another crucial area to look, again, where Nigeria can learn from Malaysia is infrastructure development. Malaysia, they have a robust infrastructure in place for processing and transportation for efficient production and export of their oil palm industry. Whereas in Nigeria, it is quite obvious that the infrastructure is very poor, and that has limited our access to the market. Then we look at another factor here, where we can also look into learning from Malaysia, organized farming. Malaysia, the Malaysians, they have established a large estate and cooperative streamlined production to reduce costs in their palm plantation development. And in Nigeria, what we have is a fragmented farming structure that has limited economy of scale. So another area we can look is sustainability practice. Malaysia focus on sustainable practice. Malaysia's focus on global market acceptance for them. Whereas in Nigeria, we still system to enhance that in palm.
Prince Suleiman, please permit me to come in here. Just on the conversation.
Are you with me?
Yes, I can hear you, but permit me to come in here. One of the conversations, right, that built up from the Malaysian Market Connect engagement was about strengthening market access and, of course, building business relationships. So, how important are these partnerships in opening opportunities for the sector?
Can I hear you well?
Yes. Do you need me to repeat my question?
That's right, please.
Right. So I said that one of the conversations which came up from the Malaysia Market Connect engagement was really about strengthening market access and building business relationships. So my question is, how important are these partnerships in opening up opportunities for the sector?
One of the areas we can look as potential opportunity for us is developing a better relationship in the oil palm industry with Malaysia, which will help us with connectivity with the palm industry to catch up with our position in that industry. And I think Malaysia has taken the lead in this area. We have a large agro plantation development organization from Malaysia on ground in Nigeria, that is Agro Nexus, who are partnering with Nigerian palm plantation development companies by bringing in funding for agro development, and also by providing ready-made demand market I think if we work more on connecting with Malaysian palm industry as the number 2 leading palm development country in the world, achieve a lot of benefits from them that will help our palm plantation development grow and our oil palm yield.
Fantastic. We also I think it's also important for us to talk about the millions of Nigerians who are involved in farming, in trading, and processing oil palm. What sort of support do small and medium scale players need to compete in this modern global market?
Okay, supporting small and medium scale players in Nigerian oil palm sector is essential for enhancing their competitiveness in modern global market. And let's mention some key areas of support that could be such as access to finance. Nigerian oil palm industry need access to finance. They need finance and loans in place, establishing accessible credit facilities tailored for smallholders can help them invest in a better, can help them invest in tools that will increase productivity in seeds and technology. Then grant and subsidies from government to play a major role, and the World Organization. If you consider the fact that Nigerian soil is very fertile for palm plantation, Nigeria is a very profitable investment in palm plantation. So the government working together with foreign organizations to be able to provide grants and subsidy as financial assistance for input and infrastructure development can definitely elevate initial investment body. Then we talk about training and capacity building. This goes a long way too, such as technical training, offering workshops on modern farming practices and pest management and sustainable agriculture can enhance productivity in this sector. Then we also must consider business management. Training in financial literacy, marketing, and supply chain management can definitely empower small players to run their operation more effectively. We should also consider the infrastructure development too. Roads that leads to plantations and transportation facilities, all these definitely help. Then we talk about the processing facilities for this product. These are all things that help the market to grow. Then market access information through collaboration with countries like Malaysia definitely will also help this industry to grow in Nigeria, and cooperative development is quite a huge potential too here. Thank you.
Right. You've done well to also speak towards some of the opportunities that you see for businesses and entrepreneurs within this oil palm value chain. Now, let's talk about something that is becoming more prominent in the global market, and that's really sustainability. We are seeing that more conversations around sustainability are being had. So let's talk about quality, sustainability, traceability, and all of that. How can Nigeria position itself to meet these expectations that the global market is demanding for right now?
Okay, I think what I can say in this area is that to meet the growing global demands for sustainability, quality, and traceability, Nigeria can adopt several strategic approaches, such as sustainable farming practices, agroecology and agroforestry, promote integrated farming system that enhance biodiversity and soil health while reducing reliance on chemical input. These are very, very important in this area. Then we talk about certification scheme too. encourage farmers to obtain certifications like the Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil, the RSPO, to demonstrate commitment and sustainability. Then we talk about quality improvement too here, which plays a major role. Invest in R&D, research and development, to develop high-yield, disease resistance palm varieties and better processing techniques. This is quite relevant here too. Then training programs, creating training programs, implement training for farmers on best practice for cultivation and harvesting to improve product quality is very, very essential. Then we don't have to forget looking into traceability system too. Digital platform systems that help to monitor agro production, technologies. I see blockchain being implemented in agricultural development business in India, which is something we should also look into here, that that ensures transparency in sourcing and production of products and enhance traceability, allowing consumers of palm oil products.
Fantastic. Just because we have to go right now, Prince Suleiman, just a final question, 30 seconds of your time, please. If Nigeria gets the right investment and partnerships, can oil palm become one of the major sectors driving exports and economic growth? Just 30 seconds. Yes, no, why?
Of course, yes, definitely. We all know that. If you go to Malaysia today, and you come off your flight at KLIA, which is Malaysian International Airport, from that point onward towards the main city of Kuala Lumpur, when you look your right and left, it is all plantation. So if Nigeria secure the right investment and partnership, oil palm can indeed become a major sector, driving exports and economic growth in this our country. I think if we can put more energy in oil palm than we have put in crude oil, considering the fact that the world is moving away from gas to electric to energy system, empowering machineries and other things, which eventually most of these come from palm product. I think it will definitely move our economy towards right direction. Let me indicate some areas where we should look, where it can really help our potential. Today, there is high global demand with increasing global consumption of palm oil. Nigeria can tap into market, especially if it focuses on sustainable and high quality products, just like Malaysia does. And that is one of the major factors that is growing Malaysian oil palm demand around the world. So diversification of export, expanding oil palm production can help diversify Nigerian export portfolio, reducing dependency on crude oil, like I earlier said. So another area we should look into is the job creation that it brings. Rural employment is one area. Investing in oil palm sector can create jobs across value chain. We all know that. From farming to processing, distribution, benefiting rural communities, even in the urban areas, because the shops that sell palm oil products from palm plantation will also make a lot of sustainable living from that. So we talk about skill development. Training program can enhance skill, fostering a more competent workforce.
Thank you very much, Prince Suleiman.
Thank
Thank you so much for your time this morning on The Big Story. It was truly insightful speaking with you and hearing all about the opportunities present in the oil palm industry. Thank you so much. We hope that more Nigerians and more young people will catch on to these opportunities present. But I do wish you a very lovely day ahead. That's why we'll leave it this morning on The Big Story. We've examined Nigeria's oil palm industry and its race for global competitiveness. My name is Elizabeth Musa. Up next is Social Listening. Do stay with us.
Ekiti State last Saturday, we saw an interesting election where the APC candidate, who is the sitting governor of Ekiti State, Biodun Oyebanji, has won that election, has been declared winner by INEC. He scored a total vote of 319,224 votes. Of course, a far, very, the distance between him and the guy who came first, that is the Wole Oloyede of the People's Democratic Party, who scored just 40,000 votes or thereabout. And of course, the Dare Bajide of ADC scored 12,872 votes. The distance between the winner and the rest of the people,
the runner-up,
are miles away. Zed, let me start this with you. Is this like APC is again asserting itself, asserting its authority as far as the Southwest politics is concerned? And is that what we are going to see? Did you expect APC to win or not to win this election?
Yeah, I wasn't surprised that APC won. The APC has been governing that place for the past 3+ years. So nobody expected that APC would lose. So if APC had lost, that would have been the ninth wonder of the world. So the eighth wonder of the world, as they say. Be that as it may, what I monitor that election. In fact, from the beginning to the end of that election, even though I wasn't at Ekiti, but I monitored the thing on the television channel from the starting to the end. So I followed up, I saw the crowd that came out. And unfortunately, we thought, because of the massive crowd we saw on the television screen, that was the reflection of what happened. Unfortunately, if you compute the results, we didn't get up to 400,000 out of the 1-point-something million, which means that the turnout percentage was below 40%, whereas the last distance was about 49-point-something% turnout rate. So, which means we are degenerating, despite the massive no, I'm not talking about voter education and all the orientation.
But are we really having massive voter education?
So, but ahead of the election,
okay,
the civil society organizations and even INEC sensitized people to go out and vote there, but people didn't go. But I was highly disappointed. Also, I learned now from the Ekiti election that this rigging thing has taken another dimension. Rigging does not just happen at the election day, even though there were cases of vote buying. But I think we have seen preponderance of empowerment programs that were aimed to hoodwink people, to say, okay, we are giving people 10 kg rice, 10 kg bag of beans, and all the other few tangible things. But these things, the end product and the motive behind them was to get the people to vote for you as a party.
Yeah.
So when we see this empowerment that had not been there all the while, suddenly people are empowering people, it means that something is fishing somewhere. So that's what also came to my mind when I was watching this thing. And also the impunity of party agents that were, even despite the presence of policemen there, they were giving out money. And again, the police look the other way. So what are we teaching the voters? What are we teaching, conveying to the world? Have we descended to a people that don't care for anything at all? So we have all the monitoring agencies from even outside the country. Everybody was there. Even before them, you were giving money to people and compromising voters. So we have not come to the point that I'm afraid of even 2027 election, because it seems we have learned nothing.
Okay. Chuka, it will seem as if vote buying has come to stay as far as Nigeria's election is concerned. I want to ask you, in what way do you think this can be eliminated? I don't know if I say reduce, it would look as if we want it to, but in what way do you think? What do you think this can, because in the Ekiti election, it was very, very clear that there were a lot of vote buying. And in fact, to some extent that people even say, look, I collected 15,000 naira, I voted. And we even saw, let me say with vote buying, let me say, but some people actually came out to confess that they collected money to vote. Can we continue like this? What do you think can be done to eliminate vote buying in Nigeria's election?
Thank you, Josh. Eliminating it is not an impossibility, but it's difficult. It is not impossible because
I was following it.
Poverty.
Why it's not impossible is that if the security agencies are out to work and out to monitor the elections, how to ensure credible election, they can do that. But the actors are so smart that they know that this kind of thing they will do this kind of thing. So what they do first and foremost is to go and compromise the security agencies and weaken them. They literally disarm the security agencies. So even when you pretend that you didn't see anything. But why I say it is difficult is because the leaders know that people need money. They know that poverty is our second name. So if you say, come and take this kind of money for just 1 hour or two, and that thing is for them is a living wage, they will quickly go and collect it, go and vote conscientiously. Such people will not vote against the party that is maltreating them. But because they have collected the money, they will go and vote for them and actually vote for them. So even without mutilating figures or changing figures in favor of the ruling party, they will use their money to get the votes. So
don't forget that
because we don't have enough time.
Don't forget that Ekiti is a state where stomach infrastructure was
popularized.
And I was alarmed that the police commissioner that organized the other policemen and all these agencies was arguing on the television that where is the evidence that there was vote buying? So even when these election monitors were telling him that it was poverty.
And you know that when you want to get the security agencies like police, for instance, you don't get them at the polling stations, polling booths, I mean to say. Somebody must have gone to see somebody somewhere, and then order comes from somewhere to make sure just what you see. Be careful. Be careful how you monitor this election. Don't involve yourself in what you don't know.
Anyway, in this case, we didn't even see the EFCC officials harassing people.
Why this is curious is because Ekiti is one of the most enlightened states in the country, especially let us say that at the southwest. But some of these things are happening in those such a place. So the beautiful ones are not yet born as far as election in Nigeria.
Okay, as we conclude, we don't have enough. Just one more question and we conclude. Well, Oyebanji has won the election. Of course, people expect that he will win. There are people who will tell you that, look, he didn't do too badly in terms of performance in the last 4 years. And ordinarily that, but people have also said, look, with or without inducement, what have you, probably will still have won. But now that he has won, what would you say should be his focus, or what is your expectation of the re-elected governor in the next 4 years?
Ekiti, despite the name the state has as an enlightened state, a state of enlightened minds, enlightened people. Ekiti is not too much in the news. I mean, when you are rating high performer or high performing states, Ekiti doesn't come very close. So it's like when you are talking about states in the south, it's like a Boeing state. That's how
laid back
it is. Seems. And Ekiti has a lot of people, even in this government. So I would expect that all the people, not only Governor Ebanjina, I will expect Ekiti sons and daughters who are in government, who are up there, to begin to take more interest in really developing that state. That state is a backwater state as much as many people are concerned, because Ekiti is not in the forefront. If you are looking at the names of the people that are from that place, it doesn't match the status of the state in terms of infrastructure, in terms of every other thing. If you are looking at the status of other states and putting states on the scale of development, it is running very down. So I think with the second term victory of the governor and the collaboration of all the Ekiti daughters and sons, I have said, I think they should take that state to a higher level.
Okay, thank you. Chuka, just seconds. So what's your expectation of Governor Ibanji in this, now that has been re-elected to go for the next 4 years?
Normally in this part of the world, we emphasize infrastructure for the people. The people want, as if in any state, including Ekiti, the citizens expect government to come and start sharing money. It just make life meaningful and easy for them.
All right.
That's exactly anybody would expect from the new governor. Make life easy and bearable for the people. So that when you have less,
they'll be happy that
they have a new
government.
Thank you so very much, gentlemen. This is where we wrap up on Reflections Nigeria. Zeb, I come to you. One of the reasons they've advanced for this is that we organize election every 4 years, and there's so much is put into organizing election. INEC will ask for billions of naira, which of course the government will always approve. And so much is spent on election. So if we have a single tenure of 6 years, so instead of organizing election every 4 years, we'll be doing that every 6 years. So in a way, that will reduce the level of the amount of money spent on the election. Of course, there's also, like Chuka said, issue of apart from rotation, the president or the governor, always getting distracted, because of course sometimes cases go to court, and so before you could even do anything, 4 years it's over. So I don't know. What's your view? Is it that reason? Is it really not?
Yeah.
Consider a 6 year single tenure.
Thank you so much. Because of our experience, we are very careful when politicians make any statement or make any suggestion. Ordinarily, one would have said that Senator Bamidele made an innocuous suggestion. But like my friend and colleague here, Chuka, has noted, these things may have come as a result of testing waters. They are trying to promote it, to see the reaction of Nigerians. Because if you think that it was just a mere suggestion, you may not know that may have already been concluded the arrangement had been concluded. Everything about forcing it on Nigerians, the plan had already been concluded. So what you will hear is that they will now give it accelerated hearing, and they pass the motion, and before you know it, the president will have assented to it, and it becomes a law. We have seen how motions and everything are being debated on the floor of the National Assembly, both floors, the Senate and the House of Representatives, the National Assembly. So if you think that these people are joking, they may not be joking, and there may be plan to do this. That being that, 6 years, for me, I think is a very good arrangement if it comes to fruition, because a lot of time and resources have been wasted organizing elections. And 2027 election started the inauguration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
It was just too early.
So everything that the president had been doing since then has been toward his re-election in 2027. So we can say there is serious governance being put in place, whether at the executive level or the National Assembly or the judiciary. Everything is tilted towards bringing the president back. So if we now say 6 years, 6 year tenure, single tenure, then you mean, it will mean that Nigeria will save a lot of money. The money being moved to the INEC to organize these frivolous elections they're organizing. The judiciary, do you know how much money that is being pumped into judiciary? People pursuing the election that were political cases, election that were stolen. And the unfortunate thing is that no matter how much they put in pursuing the cases, they will never win it, because the party in power determines how these judgments will go. So for me, it will pay Nigerians more, and it will be more beneficial in other way for Nigerians to have this single term, so that it will reduce the waste or the wastage we are suffering, and it will make whoever the president and the governors to be more focused, so that the distractions being suffered as a result of campaigning, as a result of lobbying, as a result of all manipulations towards their coming back may reduce or may even cease. So that's what I would say in this opening remark.
Okay, interesting. But again, look at it, Zed. And of course, I'll come to you, Choka. Yes, the argument that yes, it will reduce waste in terms of the money spent on the election, in terms of the money spent to pursue political cases in court, creating opportunity for the judiciary to do so many things that we see them do on the current deal that we see, all of those things. So yes, fine, but look at it this way: if we have a single
6 years,
single term of 6 years, fine. But what then? Because we notice that governors, president, they hardly deliver. Actually, I mean, look at, for instance, right now we have a lot of money, going to state governments after subsidy removal. There's so much money now, but we haven't seen them done much. And so if they don't do much, even when they know that they will come back for your vote in 4 years, how much less would they be doing if they know that once they win election and it is 6 years, they are not going to come back to you to ask for a vote? I mean, is that not going to be a drawback in terms of service delivery, in terms of governance? Since they know, after all, I mean, I'm going to do just 6 years. I'm not going to anybody to ask for vote to a second term anymore. So wouldn't they relax?
No, it's better to tolerate incompetent and non-performant government for 6 years than to tolerate that government for 8 years. Don't forget that people are piling up money. The sitting governors, the sitting president might be piling up money now to prosecute their re-election. That wouldn't happen if they have a single term. Maybe they will seemingly pretend to be serving in the first, second, third year or fourth year. Then toward the end of that sixth tenure, they may begin to fend for themselves. But Nigerians will tolerate that more than what we are seeing now. From year 1 to the 8th year we are seeing. Nigerians are shouting, nothing is happening. So I don't think it will be better. I think it will be better so Nigerians know now that it's 6 years, there's no coming back. So just whatever you have been able to acquire for yourself, take it and move. No re-election, no all these coming back to go to the soapbox and make promises that you know you will not fulfill.
Do you share that?
No, I think
I insist. If there's nothing to motivate the governors, the president, to work, to deliver service, to provide good governance, because I see that 4 years coming back, that re-election, I see that as a motivation because they know that they will come back to you. And so they know that, if I don't do well, they may not vote for me again. So they know that they will come back to you. Isn't that a motivation? If you take it out and you come to, I'm asking you the same question.
Yes, I differ a little from my colleague here because what you have just said is what actually I have in my mind, that the first term, as we know it here, is a preparatory ground for the looting, the massive looting that they normally do. Somebody knows that I have 4 years to work. The other 4 years is for me to come back and do recover my investment. But this happens because of the kind of environment where we find ourselves.
But should politics be an investment?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That it happens because of the kind of environment where we find ourselves, where accountability doesn't mean anything to us. Because if it is other jurisdictions where people know that you are accountable to the people who brought you
and they are servants
to govern, and you are the chief servant of the state or this country, as the case may be, you'll be very careful how you go about, especially spending public money. But in this particular case, even we consciously or unconsciously say, this one is never reached his second term and it's already piling money, which means it's almost a norm. It's almost a norm that when he comes back to second term, it's for him to pile money for the next line of action, which is either for governors going to the Senate or the president planning his retirement. That he knows that when he retires, nothing again. He doesn't have industry. He doesn't have anything that actually brings money. He will be feeding on that money until he dies. And another way to even perpetuate that fraud is to throw up one of his sons or daughters to go to the government and continue, because the money is there to prosecute the election for either the daughter or the son, or even son and daughter to enter. So you find that in some families, government feeds the entire family from the son or from the mother or from the father. One of them or two of them must be in government at any point in time. So such people have already taken politics as business. And anything they are doing is, how do I, who have invested, how do I get back my investment? And then looting has no limit and it has no soul.
Right. So if I may come in here, let me just, you are talking about people who will be conscious when they come in the first term. They'll be able to do. What are the promises people made? For instance, the president made a promise when he was campaigning that if he will not, or if he failed to deliver on power, Nigeria should not vote for him. So has he delivered on that? But he's coming up again.
But he will come back. But at least the fear may be there that, oh, I didn't deliver on this promise. The people may not vote for me.
So no, what I'm trying to say here is that their promises are never met, and they are not even alive to the promises they are making. That's just flippant statement they make when they go to the so-called to campaign. So if we had, by tomorrow we have 6-year single term of governance, they'll be more conscious what they tell people. So if you are coming to, there's no re-election, you know that from day one, you have been voted, you have been inaugurated to hit the ground running, as it were, to perform the duty for which you have been elected. So I still stand on the fact that I think this consciousness of re-election is making them to be lackadaisical in whatever they are doing.
Okay, and perhaps make bogus promises that they will not be able to deliver on. Anyway,
I think the only thing is that maybe it reduces our tolerance level. That I know I'm not going to endure this person for 80 years. It is going to be for 6 years. But I just made a point that this kind of things happen because of the kind of place where we are.
Yeah.
Because if it were in places where people who you are not performing well, like a representative of the people, there's a recall.
People
they will revolt. They will revolt. They will even maybe when you come back from Abuja one of these days, you may not go back. So, but because they know that nobody will do anything, nothing happens in this place. So they can. So this 6-year term will worsen that kind of impunity.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, so let's wait and see how it will go. I mean, the debate has started in the National Assembly. Let's see whether indeed they will push it through and get the constitution amended to be able to allow that. And of course, Nigerians will be the ones to
lose or benefit.
lose or benefit from it.
As Nigeria stands at a critical turning point, we move beyond the conversation of mere survival. This year, Business Day presents the 2026 edition of the CEO Forum, themed From Stability to Shared Prosperity. Join the nation's most influential CEOs, policymakers, and business leaders with keynote insights from Taiwo Oyedele, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, and the Central Bank Governor, Olayemi Kadoso, alongside a powerful lineup of voices shaping Nigeria's economic future. Happening on the 16th of July 2026 here in Lagos. For more information, call Uchenna on 0809-645-3535 or Shegun on 0812-024-3167 or Daniel on 0802-756-4653. This is not just a conference. It's where conversations become decisions that shape the future of business.
Pleasure of welcoming great supporters and friends from INMA. He's the president, and then of course L. Wilkinson, and then Dorin is heading the work in Africa.
Honored that you're hosting us today. We look forward to a positive exchange of ideas and strategies to make our industry better. With me is Al Wilkinson. He's President and Executive Director of International Media Association. All right, guys. and we're happy to have him here. I'll let him tell you guys more about him and why he's here.
I would leave you with the idea about Business Day. No platform can take it. No AI can replicate it. No competitor can buy it. So here's a little advice. Defend it. Build it. Invest in it. Because folks, the decade ahead is going to belong to huge organizations that are unmistakably themselves. They're not boring. They're not neutral. Who are you? Answer that question and you'll figure out the next one. Thanks a lot.